Hello, listeners of the TBD3B podcast. This is just a notification that there were a couple of audio issues in this episode. The first audio issue was that the Windows notification sound was recorded a few times. The second audio issue is that all of the two voice lines were merged into one track during recording, which means it's a lot harder for me to edit them out, including the Windows notification stuff. And the third audio issue is that I put my noise gate I put the limit a little too high, which means sometimes my voice might be cut out, which is really unfortunate. But rest assured, I fixed these issues for the next episode. I'm really sorry that these issues are present in this episode. So this episode is not going to be of a very high quality, I'm going to be honest. But hopefully, if you're a big fan, you're still going to listen through it. And rest assured that this won't continue on in the future episodes. So, sorry again, but hopefully you'll still enjoy this episode and listen when we come out with a new one next week. All right, thanks.
543-210 -1.
What are we just counting numbers now?
Yeah, backwards and forwards.
Backwards.
We can go up and down too. We can go like I, 2I,
What?
I, 0, -I. Never seen that little.
Oh, like imaginary numbers?
Yeah.
This is getting too technical for this podcast. I feel
Who's
like
our
our audience won't understand.
Our non-existent audience.
Are not. Well, we have to accommodate for everyone, right? And if we're doing this, we're alienating all the people that never took Algebra 2.
We can turn this into a math lecture.
I don't think that would be much appreciated.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either.
Well, I think teachers in general, they do a hard job. Especially, well, I would say the teachers in like high school, middle school, elementary school especially, compared to college professors, because when you're at college, you at least have like a baseline of knowledge. There's like certain annoyances for each level, right? So for elementary teachers, they're kids. So they're twats. For middle schoolers, they're probably even more of a twat because they're just growing up and they're getting into that phase where they're a giant twat. And then
they realize that they themselves exist, but they don't know that other people exist.
I don't think it's that deep. I think they're just cunts.
Self-absorbed.
And then high schoolers, yeah, probably less than middle schoolers, but still not good. And then college students, it's really we didn't really get much better. It's still the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, the introductory courses can be a bit tough. You know,
teaching them or
some modes of thought. Yeah, sure. Some modes of thought you don't really touch on in high school. You have to be taught in once you get into college.
All right.
It'd be a bit different.
That is, yeah.
Speaking of our non-existent audience, it just grew a little bit.
Yeah.
Very recently, yesterday. No matter how hard I tried to deny that the podcast exists.
Who kept bringing it up?
Our recurring character, Nerda.
Nerda,
good old friend.
Nerda, yes.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know he listens to it.
He doesn't, but we listened to it. I was on a road trip for a while, and
wait, so
we needed something to listen to.
Who's the new audience? You said Nerda.
New audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nerda, you can say is one of them. I think currently, or previously, I should say, our audience was one. We had a couple that watched on the periphery, if you will. But we had one dedicated viewer. Now we probably still have one dedicated viewer. But we had a few other people in the car that were listening. And they're just housemates.
So they're like proximity viewers now, or they're not dedicated
Viewers by proxy.
viewers, but they'll like check in every once in a while.
Well, I don't know if they remember what it's called, so I'm not sure.
Oh, it's
But
not
they'll
even that
check in.
hard. It's 2 letters.
TBD3B. Oh, are we just sticking with 3B now?
Well, we could do TBD. The official podcast title on the platforms is just 3B, and the cover art that I did is just 3B as well.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't want to stick a TBD in there. I didn't know how to draw that, so
Well, we don't have to have the full name in the cover art.
that's true. I still have
Yeah.
to rename it though if it's a TBD, but I think I
If
can
it's
do
too
that.
much effort, no need. I mean, whatever you think is right, I feel.
How much did you guys listen to on the car?
We listened to a good chunk, maybe like 20, 30 minutes.
Was it
So
20-30 minutes of the beginning?
at the beginning, yeah.
Uh,
We have the second podcast,
you had to go
second
to
iteration.
the last like 20-30 minutes when you started talking about your Germany trip, and also when we were talking about just visiting other places in general. I think that
Oh
was like
yeah,
the best part of the podcast.
maybe. I see. I don't really remember what we talk about after we talk about it. I'm gonna be honest. But if our new audience members have decided to check in on this episode, welcome, and we're glad you're here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we did talk about in the second podcast. That was at the beginning. It was the second podcast, the ones that are always forgotten because you have new viewers that want to check in and see how did the podcast evolve. They're only gonna watch the first one, and then the
That's
second
true.
one's gonna be forgotten.
Except these fellows started at the second. Although that
Oh,
was at the time our latest content.
that's true. 3, 2,
You can do it.
1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3B Podcast. Uh,
Hello.
yes, that's my co-host person. Hi. This is so
Hey.
garbage. Fuck.
Welcome everybody. We're glad you could join us for our little escapade
Yeah,
adventure.
this was almost not gonna happen today because it's quite late it's later than when we usually do the podcast. It's pretty late for you right now.
Yes, it is. I'm a bit of a night owl nowadays. Got a lot of work to
Nowadays.
do at night. Yeah, I've been oversleeping my alarm, and it's kind of hard to fix your sleep schedule when you just woke up like 12 hours ago. You
When
know?
did you start becoming this much of a night owl? Like, did you sleep this late when you were in high school?
Oh, in high school? Ooh, see, in high school I had to wake up at around like 7:30 in the morning, so it was very easy to go to sleep early.
Well,
Um,
define early, because that's pretty relative compared to what it could
that's
be.
true. Pre 1 a.m. I'd say is early. Pre 2 a.m. even.
That's not okay. So what was the
I mean,
average?
occasionally, of course, it's oh, what's the average? I don't know. I'd say maybe 12:30 to 1 is when I go to bed in high school. Occasionally, you'd
What?
have homework that's
How is that any better than college?
oh, at college, I'm going to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning, maybe 2 if I'm lucky.
If you're lucky.
Oh, wait, so you don't wake up that? Oh, I guess you do go to bed pretty late. I mean, pretty early. What am I saying?
In college, I go to bed. So freshman year, I went to bed. It was average around like 1. It was average around 1. Sometimes it go up to 2. The best nights would be like 12 midnight. But in high school,
Mhm.
I think this is one good thing that my parents did. I don't know if it's good, but it's at least a good habit, which is my mom made sure that I went to sleep basically at 10:30 to 11.
Oh
But
wow.
this was only for like this was only up to around like sophomore year. And then she became a lot more lax, so my bedtime would go up to midnight. Like not as a limit, she just wouldn't enforce anything, so I would go to sleep later, but usually it'd still be before midnight. And the main thing is I would almost never go past midnight unless there was a really big project. And it have to be like a pretty big project that I don't know, I was still cramming to do,
Uh-huh.
and that didn't happen very often. So I was actually pretty good with the bedtimes, staying before midnight, and
Yeah,
I
proud of
had
you.
to go to school. Well, it was also mainly just because otherwise I wouldn't get enough sleep because school started at 7:45.
Hmm.
Was it the same for you?
No, school for me started at 8 a.m.
Okay, that's not much better. But
Yeah. Well,
7:45, and I had to wake up basically every day at around 6:45
hmm.
because I'd like eat breakfast, brush my teeth, do all the morning stuff, and then I'd walk to school. This is at least for junior and senior year. I'd walk to school at around I no, I wouldn't walk to school. I'm forgetting myself now. Sometimes I'd walk to school, but it's my dad would drop me off, and he'd have to
Uh-huh.
go to work, like leave by around like 7:10 to 7:15,
That's gonna be early.
and so basically that's why I had to wake earlier. So if I wanted to ride, I have to meet his leaving schedule.
I
So
see.
that was
Was your school
also
far?
no. Well, clearly, if I could walk to school, it wasn't that far. I could have walked.
Uh-huh.
It's around a 10-minute walk. 10 to
Okay.
15-minute walk. It's not that bad. Sometimes I'd walk home from school, but it's just more convenient. I guess it kind of probably more convenient for my dad if he didn't have to drop me off, but I don't know, he
Yeah.
agreed to it and it was I don't know if it was on the way, but it wasn't that far off from our home, so I guess it can't have taken him that much longer. Thanks, Dad,
Yeah.
if you're listening to
Okay.
this. Appreciate it.
Anything exciting ever happen on one of your walks to school
On the walks to school, no,
or
it
to and
was just
from?
way too cold. Uh, I can only remember the times when it's cold that I walk to school because then it's
Yeah.
cold and I'm like, this is not a very fun time. I do remember
And
walking home from
hopefully,
school. You know what's funny? I remember the when it's cold walking to school, but the times I remember walking home are when it's too hot, and I
hmm.
was like try to stay by the shade. There are a few trees by the roadside sometimes, closer to our neighborhood, and I'd try to stick in that because it's not fun to walk in the sun.
Not fun to walk in the sun. That's a nice little adage.
And that's in the Oregon sun. It's not even.
The
It's got
hot
to be
Texas
even
sun.
worse. Yeah, down where
Yeah,
you
I
are.
didn't really walk back. Although the car, so I drove to school senior year to and from. So the car would be pretty hot when it's like out in the sun in the parking lot. But yeah, um, my school. You see, I would be very tired all the time because I was chronically sleep deprived. I don't know how it didn't stunt my growth, or maybe it did, and I was supposed to be like a beanstalk more so than I already am. um, but yeah, I'd wake up. I would like you. I'd eat my breakfast. I'd shower in the morning in those days. I would take long showers like I do now, and then I would be late for school, and that's how it would be. Not much has changed except for the fact that now I'm late for Zoom meetings instead of
Yeah, it's
physical
even a
class.
lower bar, and
Yeah,
somehow
that's true. I'm late less often now. That's one good thing, I suppose.
it's a small consolation. How far away
Yeah.
was the car drive?
Not very. I could have walked, but I didn't feel
Right.
like it.
What did your
um,
school have like a lot of parking spaces for students?
yeah, so my school was very large. It was humongous. It had to fit like 3,000 people. So
And this is
there was
only for grades 11 and 12.
only for grades 11 and 12. They split up the junior high, as they call it, which are grades 9 and 10, into two high schools. So it's a bit more manageable. And also, fewer kids have cars, so you don't need that big of a parking lot. Um, yeah, so there'd be like tiers of parking that would be coveted by all who park. Um, and so you have the nice, good parking that's like close to campus or whatever. Um, it's just a very short walk. And then you have the worst parking, the second tier. I guess there's only two tiers. The worst tier, I guess, and we call that Africa. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's far away. But yeah,
uh,
I don't know.
just cause
That's
it's
what.
far away.
No, I mean it's just nobody liked parking there. Maybe there was some undertones that I remember the school newspaper had a little thing about Africa in there. The parking lot for Africa, not the
Really? They wait, they
continent.
referred to the parking lot as Africa?
Yeah, yeah. It was referred to that by like everybody in the school. It was a very
Um,
common. Yeah. And they referred to Africa as a country. I thought that was really funny. They're like in the country of Africa, people are parking their cars. um, or it's so named for the country of Africa. I thought that was very funny. Yeah, but the reason I drove is for that, because we were allowed to have off-campus lunch, and so we'd go out
oh,
to
what?
have our lunch. Yeah,
Did you do
especially
that?
senior year.
Like, did you
Sorry.
do that regularly? Off campus
Yeah,
lunch?
pretty much every day. I'd go out to eat. Um, Fridays were fun in particular because so me and a bunch of my friends took this dual credit class that was in our lunch period, our fourth period or whatever. Um, and so every Friday there wouldn't be class, so because it was only 4 lectures a week, and so
Was
on
it
Fridays
only
we'd have
4 lectures
2 hour
a
lunch.
week for this class?
Yeah, this particular class was only 4 lectures a week, and it was during fourth period, which is when our lunch is, and so uh, every Friday we'd have 2 hour lunch. So the world was much open, our oyster, so to
Wait, so
speak.
you had 1 hour lunch?
Um, yeah, we had like 53 minutes or something, 54 minutes to eat.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I only had like 30 minutes.
Were there multiple lunch periods, like more than two? Maybe
There
we
were
only had
only
2 lunch
two
periods.
lunch periods, but you only had one in your schedule. So really you only had 30 minutes to eat.
Oh, really? Um,
Wait, or am I
yeah,
remembering this wrong? I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure we only had like 30 minutes to eat and then like the 5 minutes of passing time in between to
yeah,
then
that's
get to your
crazy.
next class. I mean,
Yeah, the way it
we
worked for
also
us.
didn't have off-campus lunch, so that
Yeah, yeah,
was a factor.
yeah. And junior high, which are 9 and 10, our lunch was much shorter. Um, Although they tried something new, in my year, which was to like combine all the lunches into a single lunch, and you could eat anywhere in the building, basically. So they like have chairs out, and you could eat anywhere, and they'd call that block lunch. But that got taken away because there were like too many fights or something. Uh, like there was one in particular in the library, I remember, and there was a huge crowd of people that sort of rushed the windows and started like to the library and started like banging, fight, fight, fight on the. It was wild.
What?
It was crazy. Yeah, it was horrible.
Why were they banging the
Um,
window? Was the fight outside?
it was inside the library, and so they were like crowding around the. It was a
Oh,
very open library, sort of, with the windows. You could see into it very clearly, and so um, that's
the
where people
library
went
is
to
like the
speak.
octagon. There's only those two inside. Everybody's on the outside looking in.
Something like that. Except, I mean, there are people inside the library eating.
They're just
We
trying to
weren't allowed
enjoy their
to.
lunch.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
fight just out
Yeah, these
happening
people
right.
they ruined block lunch for the rest of us. Sad.
Wait, I
Um,
noticed you called the grades 9 to 10 junior high. So what was 11 and 12
Middle
just called
school.
high school?
Oh, no, no, no. So yeah, it was junior high school, then senior high school. That's what it's called.
Senior high school.
Yeah.
You could say
Uh,
like upper, the lower classmen, upperclassmen. Nah, I
I
guess
guess you could,
that's just easier to
but
say junior and
that was their official title anyway. The My high school was called something junior high school, and then my senior
something
high was called,
senior,
yeah.
something senior high. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm envious
Yeah,
of off-campus lunch. We weren't
that was a good time.
officially allowed to do it, and even if we were, I didn't have a car, so couldn't really do that.
Do you know anybody who had a car?
Well, yeah, probably could have done that, but
Yeah.
everybody some people would sneak out, and I don't know. People would just sneak out, not just in lunch, just try and escape school. But we had
I don't
like
blame them.
hall monitors and stuff that
Oh, really?
made sure you couldn't really do that freely. Was the I'm just thinking now, is our high school kind of like an authoritarian state? They're trying to keep us in, not allow us to do anything.
Yeah, my junior high was kind of built like a prison. There were like cinder blocks and no windows. Kind of like Hammerschlag, really.
Oh, that's
Um,
pretty funny because there was another high school in our school district, and it literally looked like a prison, and every time we went there we were like, time to go to prison.
yeah, but then as soon as I left, they remodeled it, so that's good.
And it didn't look like a prison.
Not anymore. Not after I left. Also, my elementary school, I remember a couple of years after I left, they remodeled it. So I get to miss all the remodeling.
Well, remodeling, is that just exterior or the interior also? They upgraded it.
Interior also completely changed the inside. I actually went one time to my junior high and my elementary school also. We had a reunion, and it looks completely different, unrecognizable.
In a good way.
So in a good way, it looks much cleaner, more modern. Although I don't know where any of the classrooms are anymore or anything. So
Wait, that's crazy. They changed the rooms also, like
yeah,
where
yeah,
the rooms are.
yeah.
That's a really thorough remodel. I thought it would just be the aesthetic is different, like new chairs, new tables, new
Hmm.
equipment. The rooms, the layout is still the same, but
No, no, everything's completely different. Not only that, but like they also reassigned what rooms each teacher goes to, sort of. So they're like located in different parts of the building now. So I have to like ask people, like if I wanted to visit a teacher, I wouldn't know where they are. Um,
right, that did happen. I remember I went back one time to visit my middle school. I only visited my middle school like one time after graduating from middle school, moving on. And one of my teachers, they'd moved to a different room. And yeah, I didn't even know that.
mhm.
So it was a little hard for me to find where she'd gone. I mean, we visited as a group, so it wasn't that difficult. But the interesting
Yeah.
thing, considering because in middle school, each teacher had a set room for me. And then in high school, each teacher still had a set room, but sometimes the teachers would move around based on, I don't know, sometimes teachers shared rooms. So then if both teachers were teaching at the same time, then the other teacher would go to just some other room. So then not always they would have an actual set room.
Interesting.
And then, like, for sure, I know there's a room that's like a physics classroom, and two different teachers shared it. Like, my physics teacher and another physics teacher shared it based on like different periods that they taught, and other classes were in there as well. So it's not
Hmm.
like a teacher had a room to themselves. But then you contrast that. So middle school is everybody's got their own room. And then high school is like a mix. And then college is
Yeah.
you don't
Nobody
have,
has their own.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just shared rooms
You have your own
everywhere.
office.
You have your own office, yeah, but you don't teach in the office.
Right, right. Yeah, the layout was very strange before the remodel of my junior high. Thinking back, everyone had their own room, but like the rooms were sort of inside other rooms. So for some of the classrooms, you'd have to like walk through another classroom in order to get to it. It was very weird.
What if the classroom in between had class?
Yeah, people would just have to like, sorry, excuse me,
During the
then
class.
during the class, yeah, and like so a lot of the times the doors were locked because the policy like had to change about door locking because of like school shootings and stuff.
Oh.
Um, and so it's so funny, dude. Every time somebody wanted to like use the bathroom or something, somebody would have to like leave. I mean, sorry, they would leave, you go use the bathroom, and they'd come back and they'd have to like knock on the door while the teacher's teaching. And they'd stand there waiting for somebody to open the door. So they just like kind of stare around awkwardly at all the kids in the class.
No, that
Um,
happened with at my high school too. I remember that now.
uh-huh,
Sometimes like the doors would be unlocked, so it wouldn't happen, or we'd leave the doors open, like at least a crack, so you could come back inside. But other
uh-huh.
times you'd have to knock, or you just like stand outside the door window and hope somebody was looking in your general direction. So then whoever was nearby could open the door for you and
Mhm,
let you in. You know what you said about the school shootings and
right.
having like the was it the door locks as a result of that?
Yeah, so a lot of things changed. They started requiring that students wear their student IDs like on a lanyard around their necks. Um, and then they added, special locks on all the doors. Yeah, like how universities you have to like scan in order to get into the door. To my senior high school, they added those. They never worked when I was there,
Wait, so
but I came back to
students
visit.
also had to scan in.
Yeah, students had to scan in order to get into the building because it was also an open campus, and so there were multiple buildings. And so,
Oh
in order
wow.
to get from one building to the, it was a humongous. I'm telling you, it was like a city, dude.
Wait, how many buildings
Like,
did you have?
um, well, there was A building, B building, C building. Oh, I don't remember all the letters.
There's more than
There's
three
the
buildings already?
yeah, there's the one. There's the auditorium. That was its own building. Then there's the arts building. Yeah, I think that's all of them.
And what was
Um,
the how long did it take to go from one side to the other of the whole campus?
um, well, let's just say if you had a class on one side for one period, and then the next period you had it on the other side of campus, you would probably be late.
And how much passing time
Yeah,
did you
5 minutes.
have? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
so you
wait.
have to tell your teacher, like, I'm coming from the other
Let's
side of the building.
for our
Huh?
audience here, let's put this distance in perspective in regards to relative to Carnegie Mellon. So suppose you had one class all the way by Hammerschlag house, like the dorm. So
Uh-huh.
where would the other class be? Like on the far side of your high school campus? In Carnegie Mellon campus terms, where would it be?
Oh, where would it be? That's hard to say, man. Here, I'm gonna say this in terms of like actual buildings that have classrooms. Um,
Okay.
like say you had a class in Gates,
Okay.
all right, at like Rashid Auditorium,
Okay.
all right. Then the other side of campus, in terms of walking time, hmm, would probably be ooh, maybe Baker Hall.
Okay. That's
So
not
you could
terrible.
do it. You can make it, I think.
Yeah.
Can you do that in 5 minutes? I
No, no,
think
no.
you can do
Okay,
it in
so
5
is
minutes.
this including where in Gates you can take the bridge to Neil Simon and
Yes,
then Neil Simon to Wien?
yes,
Okay.
yes. That route.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a short walk, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's like possible to do it in 5 minutes.
Improbable.
Yeah.
Especially for high school students who are dragging their feet, probably don't want to go to class.
Yeah. Um, although A and B building also it was kind of like one building, except you can't get from A to B. You had to go outside. They were just connected by a wall. I'm not sure why there wasn't like a door between them. Didn't make sense, but that's how it was.
They were right next to each
They were like one building, except there was a wall between them, and you
other.
couldn't get between.
Oh.
Yeah.
What'd be funny is if the door for A was on, so imagine them on a horizontal line. The door for A
uh,
and A is on the left, B is on the right. The door for A is on the far left side. Door for B is on the
yeah,
far
yeah.
right, so you had to.
That'd be really bad. No, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
It was very short to get from A to B, but that would be really bad.
That
No,
would
there were
be
lots of doors everywhere. Also, there's multiple entrances.
so then there would be a lot of key card places also that you have to swipe
Yeah,
to get in.
most of them are probably locked most of the time. Um, and there's only a few where you like swipe your key card
Okay, so
and
you
you can get
said
in.
that it was inconsistent. So what would happen if a student couldn't get in their key
Oh,
card?
they literally never worked when I was there. Like they were not operational. The doors were just unlocked all the
Well,
time.
that kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, no, I mean I saw them add it, like it was there, but like it was never used. Um, but then I came back a year later or so, and yeah, the doors were locked. And I like tried to get in, um, and I couldn't or whatever through one of the side doors. And one of the counselors like recognized me, so they let. Although I technically don't think he was supposed to let me in. I'm supposed to like sign in at the front or something. There's like lots of rules. Like I remember I visited and then I didn't have my. Uh, I was trying to like pass by as a student, you know, so that I wouldn't have to check in or whatever because that took too much time. Um, but I forgot to put my ID around my neck as a lanyard on the lanyard. So they told me, where's your ID?" And it's like I got I was sent to the front.
That makes it seem like you're working on like an Intel campus or something, like some tech company, and you've got your lanyard around.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, hey, ID badge, security guards, checkpoints.
Very strange. Oh, they'd also do random metal detector like tests. You'd have to like go out in
What?
the hall. Yeah, yeah, that's great. I never had to do one, but they would do it.
What?
Yeah, yeah. You'd go
Like,
to a
did they have
class,
one
be
of
like,
those handheld scanners?
I don't know what it was. I never actually saw it being done, but we were like told like this is a thing that could happen.
Why? What is it for?
I don't know, just random checks. Did I tell you about the time that one of the students at my high school was caught by the FBI for plotting to like shoot up the mall?
No, I've never
No.
heard this story. Okay.
Like I thought I might have said it before on the podcast. I guess not.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
well, anyway, he was planning on shooting up the local mall, and he said like I remember he had like a little note or something, like a manifesto or something. I wouldn't call it a manifesto. It was very short. It was like he said, and I quote, "Nibba, I'm gonna shoot up the mall," or something like that. And maybe not quote, but he said, "Nibba, I'm gonna shoot up the mall,
Wait, he actually
inshallah."
said Nibba with the
Yeah, that's
B.
how he started, and then he ended with inshallah,
Wait, are you
which is
sure
not
this
the
isn't a
correct.
joke? I feel like this is a joke.
No, no, he got arrested. He was like sent to prison.
Oh my god.
He's serving time now. Um, yeah, so he was trying to like source guns and stuff. Except the person he was contacting was an FBI agent,
What?
so sucks to be him, I guess.
Wait, that sounds like something straight out of a fiction novel.
Yeah, no, no, it's true. It happened. And so he was caught. He got sent to prison, where he still is to this
Wow.
day.
You know how long he's serving?
No idea.
Did you even know
Hopefully
him?
a long time. Well, I had no idea who he was.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like 3,000 kids, like I said, in my high school. I don't know anybody.
It's the probability that one of them is a terrorist. Seems like 1 over 3,000.
Yeah, we
Expected
thought it
value.
was pretty crazy.
That is very crazy. I mean, from the contents of the note, it sounds like it was a joke, but then he actually tried to contact and buy guns. That is insane.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so I don't have anything that is nearly up to that standard.
yeah.
But what did happen at my middle school is we did have police called, and we had like
Uh-huh.
TV vans come, local TV, and it was because some kid almost choked out another kid in the bathroom. There was like a
Oh
fight
shit.
and got pretty serious. Like I think he was almost gonna choke him out, and we had police. Was I don't even know what happened to it, but I remember the classroom that I was in. It had a window that just looked out to the parking lot, and there was a news fan there, and we were like, "What is happening?" And then when we had lunch, we couldn't go into the bathroom. It was just cordoned
Oh
off,
well.
and we had no access, and it was quite a quite a scene. And yeah, our middle school didn't have the best reputation. Um, it was not known to be a great middle school. Wow.
Well.
I mean, I don't even know. How do you not lead with that story? How have I never heard that story? I mean, that's a pretty
I don't
intense
know. I
story.
thought I would have told you that at some point.
No,
We
I've never even heard that in any conversation, like outside of the
really,
podcast either. You haven't brought it up
really.
ever.
Wait, that's like a huge inside joke in my friend group back home. Also, the Nibba, I'm gonna shoot up the wall, Inshallah or whatever, and then he followed up with some like laughing emojis. I thought that was really funny.
So we
It's a
did
very
have,
unprofessional terrorist.
I mean, yeah, it's
He's only
not.
17.
Wait, no, no, no. So was that note like they found it in his residence, or he posted it online on social?
I think it's social media,
He
but I'm
posted
not
it
entirely sure.
publicly on social media.
No, 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 definitely not publicly.
Okay.
Um, oh no, sorry. I remember. It was Nibba, I'm gonna get martyred. Inshallah. That was the quote.
And that was
Actually,
it.
if you Google that, you can probably identify the high school I go to. So, oh well. That's
Wait,
now you
say
know.
again, Nibba.
Nibba, I'm gonna get martyred. Inshallah.
I have to search this up. I'm gonna get martyred. I'm just getting song lyrics, King Vong, all these N-word lyrics.
Oh
Criminal
really? Maybe
solicitation. Oh, well, I didn't put the Al-Shalah. I don't know how to spell that.
no, it doesn't come up actually. You're right. Maybe he didn't say that. um,
Whatever he says, he's gonna be a your school. He's gonna be one of those folk legends,
yeah,
cause
yeah, for sure.
that is for sure gonna be ingrained as part of your school's history. Jeez. Wait, so was that before or after the key cards?
Oh, um, I don't know. All this was sort of happening at the same time because people were sort of that was the big thing, right? School shootings. It was like
Right,
one all the time. Um, Pre-COVID, that's everything that the school is concerned about, pretty much.
right.
And
That's
so,
what I was. That's why I brought up the key cards thing because of the connection to school shootings. What I was gonna say was, I can remember throughout my time in school, from elementary school at the very young age, all the way up to high school, how there was like a change because in elementary school, well, I guess it was different, but maybe you can speak to this too. I went to a private elementary school, but
mhm.
either way, we never did any kind of school shooting drills or anything. The only kind of drills we did was earthquake and fire alarm.
We did
And
tornado. Oh, I guess you don't really
well,
have
yeah, we
tornadoes.
don't we don't have tornado.
Uh,
But and in middle school, I can't remember ever doing school shooting drills either. We had fire alarm drill. But then in high school, I can distinctly remember we'd have school shooting drills sometimes where what we'd have to do is they'd like speak on the intercom, and then we'd have to like cover all our windows like with drapes
mhm.
or blinds. Then we had to hide under the desks, and we had to turn off the lights, and we had to be like completely silent, like, replicate kind of what would
Right.
happen if that was actually happen. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, I remember what it was. Two different things. We would have lockout and lockdown drills.
Right, right. We would have both of those. Yes,
Lockout
also.
is just you basically proceed as normal, but the exterior doors to the building were all like locked.
Hmm.
And lockdown was like the one that I just described, where it's
Right, right.
as if someone is inside of the building, an active threat.
Hmm.
So you didn't
Yeah,
have
we
those.
had a real walkout actually at one point.
No, we had
Uh,
multiple lockouts. Like, uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the like
It's like
people
because every
were.
time it's like a burglary in the
Yeah,
area, we
exactly.
have
Yeah,
to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that happened kind of not frequently, but It happened more than a couple times. I can
It
count.
might have happened a couple of times actually.
Yeah. So
Um,
so in elementary school, did you have that kind of stuff?
yeah, so it sort of got more advanced with time. Like we didn't distinguish between lockdown and lockout. We just had lockdown. Um, Later on, they came out with this like graphic of like all the different kinds of drills or whatever, and like this is what you should do. And they had like colors. It was like color coded, you know. Um, and so I don't know if I actually paid attention to what all that was, but there was like instructional videos of what to do. And they sort of like got more and more complex, I guess you could say, with their lockdown drills. Um, that's the change that I noticed.
But you still had them in elementary school and middle school?
Yeah, we still had them. I mean, I feel like a big change happened when Columbine happened, right? And that was before we were born.
I
Um, so yeah, that was like the big event, sort of that set everything off.
Yeah. And then I think Sandy Hook. It's
Yeah,
just sad that
Sandy
we
Hook
can
was fun.
we can characterize, like, you know what is so sad? I only know the city of San Bernardino in California because of the
Hmm.
shooting that happened there. And
Yeah,
now whenever I hear in the news of just San Bernardino or in conversation in passing, when it doesn't even have to do with the shooting, that's like the immediate connection that comes to my mind because
yeah,
that is
same.
how I first learned of this, just from
Also,
that.
Aurora, Colorado.
That's
Um,
the movie theater one, right?
exactly.
Oh
That's the
my
only reason I
God.
know.
See, that's
Uh,
so bad. That's
yeah.
not good. I mean, Sandy Hook especially, because you say that and people automatically think of what
Hmm.
happened.
Yeah, I mean, you say Columbine, people know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
You say Oklahoma
yeah,
City, do they think? I would
I don't
say,
know.
what's the first thing that comes to your mind when someone says Oklahoma City?
Well, now that we're talking about like these kinds of things, then naturally that's what comes to mind. But no, like my dad goes to Oklahoma City all the time, or not
For
Oklahoma City in
work?
particular, but yeah, for work. Um, I goes like out to Oklahoma. Occasionally, he'll go to Oklahoma City, that kind of thing.
I think of
Um,
the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball
yeah.
whenever I hear that, just 'cause that's the most relevant connection to me.
um, yeah. I've been to Oklahoma City. It's all right.
That's it? Just alright?
I
Nothing
mean, it's
memorable?
nothing super special.
Just a
I no,
city.
actually, I don't really remember much.
See, this is a connection to our previous podcast, right? How old were you when you went there?
um, this was definitely within recent memory,
Okay.
maybe in the last 5 to 10 years.
Well, then I think it's just an indictment of how boring Oklahoma City is then.
Yeah, it wasn't very interesting. I'm sorry, Oklahoma City, to all of our Oklahoma City listeners.
Oklahoma City fans,
Yeah,
we love
if we
you.
ever reach
If you
there.
ever listen to this, we apologize. You know what? We'll visit there. I'll visit there one time.
And we can revise our opinions.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a great city, and we
No, if you
didn't see the
actually
red
have any
flags.
input, leave it in the comments. Tell us
Uh-huh.
where to go in Oklahoma City if we ever were to visit there. So your dad like travels around for his
Yeah, he
work?
goes to around like local areas, I guess. I'll go to
Well, how
Houston,
close?
West
That's not
Texas.
very local, Oklahoma City. Com
Oh, it's closer than Houston.
Okay.
Uh,
But that's
it's like
still,
3.5 hours, maybe.
yeah, that's okay. I see.
Maybe 4 hours, actually. I don't remember. But it's not like super far. Like in Texas, like these are the normal distances that you go to get to things. Um, yeah, Austin is like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's like a different mindset because when I think 3 to 4 hours, that doesn't seem very close or local. It's more of like 30
Hmm.
minutes, maybe up to an hour, I would
Yeah.
think is local.
So you
Like,
don't think, how far away is Seattle from you?
well, it might be 4 to 5 hours, maybe six. So then would
Six
that be
hours is a bit
local,
far.
like for you?
Yeah, I don't know. That seems a bit far. I mean, Yeah, I don't know if like I wouldn't. Okay, maybe we shouldn't use the word local. It's like drivable. You can go there
Right.
for a couple of days and come back. Right? It's not too far. More tractable. Like
Well,
if I
drive.
had gone to UT Austin, I could totally see myself going back home for a weekend. Right? Just like drive up. Um, but
Isn't that what you
here,
did? Like once you just
oh,
visited
yeah,
your
I
friends
went
up
to
there?
Austin
Yeah.
for a weekend.
And you drove up there.
Yeah. Um, and so, but like over here, there's no way I go back for just a weekend, right? It's,
From here in Pittsburgh.
yeah. um,
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
so,
One thing I'm always surprised when I think of Pittsburgh, it's like you're closer to Cleveland, I think, driving than Philadelphia in
hmm
Pittsburgh. And that's just wild because Pittsburgh
same
and
state.
Philadelphia are in the same state, and I never thought Pittsburgh was that far to the west of
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Pennsylvania's a very wide state. That's pretty. You don't really think about it that much, but yeah. I mean, like distances in Texas can be pretty humongous, right?
Yeah.
I guess like.
And that's what I was saying
Uh,
with the different mindset. Because
hmm
traversing Oregon, I mean, how long would it take to drive from one side of Texas to the other side? Like
Well, it
nonstop.
depends
It's at
on.
least a day, right?
No, I mean maybe it depends on like what you mean for by one side to the other. Like if you're in like
Okay, east
uh,
west.
east west, I have no idea actually.
Okay, north south.
I also don't know. I mean maybe it could be like maybe I'm gonna take a guess and say 12 hours to get from Dallas to like El Paso.
Okay, so I'm not I don't actually know where Dallas is in relation to Texas. I don't know if it's in the north,
Uh,
east, south, or west. I think El
it's North
Paso's in the
Texas.
west, right?
But El Paso is very far west.
Okay, and
It's like
where's
on the
Dallas?
Mexican border west. So
And where's Dallas?
Dallas is that area is called North Texas, um, but it's not like as far. Like the Panhandle is farther north, right? So if you think of like sort of the northeastern-ish area, um, like that is to the right of the Panhandle, that area.
I don't
Dallas
know
is
what
sort
the
of
panhandle is.
yeah, that like rectangle part.
Yeah, that's the panhandle?
That's the Panhandle. Yeah.
Ah. Oh, I see.
Um,
Wait, is it panhandle because it's like the handle of
yeah, yeah.
I never knew that. I've heard of the term, but I never knew that was the area.
Yeah. So like Oklahoma has the Panhandle. Oklahoma is just shaped like a pan.
No, it's more like a
uh,
pot, a
or
little
a pot.
deep.
Yeah, it's like a cooking utensil. So that's yeah. So Dallas is sort of like in the middle of that little section in the northeast of Texas. You call it North Texas.
All right,
Um, yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, El Paso to Dallas would be my guess is like 12 hours, but it's 9 hours. Oh, depends on the route you take, I guess.
Okay.
But
I guess I was
9 hours.
overestimating, and then I was saying like a whole day, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not quite there. It's not even halfway there.
But
So,
that's not the biggest distance you can go.
but
Um,
it's not. It can't be that far off.
well, I don't know. If say like Amarillo, if you go from Amarillo to Corpus Christi, um, that's much farther, I think. Uh, because that's like up in the Panhandle. So like it's kind of cheating, right? Because you're going up to like the extremities of Texas. Um, that would be. I'm putting this into Google now. We'll see how this is. That is 9.5 hours. Okay, so yeah, it takes maybe 10 hours to traverse all of Texas.
I guess everything is just different lengthwise. I guess in Texas, just to get from one place to another, it might take a couple hours, but in especially in like the northeast of the United States, it's like a couple hours and you traverse a lot of states.
Right, right.
which is a whole different one. Yeah, speaking of which, you just recently went to Niagara Falls. How long did that
Hmm.
take?
Well, it took us a bit longer than what maps might tell you because it took a couple stops. We stopped in Erie to see the lake. And we were there for a bit.
That in
Um,
the west of New York?
Erie is very far north Pennsylvania. I don't know if you call
Oh,
that the Panhandle, but it's a little bit that sticks up into Lake Erie.
okay.
Um, and so I guess there technically Pennsylvania borders Canada because there's
Oh,
like a bit
really?
of yeah, yeah.
Wait, I thought the city of Erie was in New York.
No,
Oh,
it's
in
in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. Um, and so there was like a nice little peninsula thing that you can go in, see we saw the sunset there. That was good. We had a bit of a late start, so that actually made it line up perfectly with sunset when we arrived. And then we stopped off in Buffalo for some dinner. We had some wings.
Were their
And so
wings
we
good?
ended up,
Did you go to
uh,
Buffalo Wild Wings in Buffalo?
no, we went to another wings place. It was some other place, like a local restaurant.
How would you rate it?
Um, it was pretty good. I mean, tasted like buffalo wings. So a 10 out of 10. um, yeah. And then we ended up in Niagara around 11:30.
Well, that's
So
late.
yeah, yeah. And we saw some pretty colors. It was well worth it, I think.
Did you stay in a Airbnb or a hotel?
We stayed in an Airbnb. It was nice. Overall, I'd rate it a good time.
What's the I didn't know you had 5 people. I thought it was only gonna be like 4 of you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't know there was the
Yeah,
fifth.
Nerda's housemate, one of them, just kind of was like, "Oh, you're going to Niagara? I guess I'll
Can I
come
come
too."
along?
Yeah.
How
So,
about the
and
other
then
housemates? You had Nerda has
and
two
then you
other housemates.
replied. So yeah, yeah. So I guess three out of the four housemates came along. The fourth one did not. I think he had some prior arrangements, so he couldn't make it, unfortunately. But the car would have been too full anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that looked like kind of a squeeze. I saw the
Yeah.
video of you guys in the
It
car.
was tough. I was actually sitting in the back for most of it. You saw me
Oh.
sitting shotgun. That
Did
was
you guys like
very brief.
rotate based on whenever you stopped?
Yeah, it was mostly a width issue, and so Nale is a much more girthy kind of guy than I am, so he got priority.
Wait, so there was Oh, I see, because the back is 3 people crammed in there, so
Yeah,
tough.
it
How's
was pretty bad, but yeah, we lived. It was only like 4 hours, 5 hours.
I mean, if it's four
Um,
hours, 5 hours of you sitting in there with your legs
yeah, I mean,
cramped.
I've sat through worse. I had to, I flew to Europe in a economy class seat, so I've I've lived through much worse.
True. Pretty bad.
Uh-huh.
How cold was it at Niagara?
Oh, I mean, at night it was very cold. The wind was made it very brisk, you know. But in the day it was all right. Uh, Bright sunny, no clouds,
So
maybe 40, 50 degrees.
when you arrived at the falls at night, they had the lights on the falls so you could
Yeah,
actually
yeah. It was a whole light show. They had multicolored and um, it kind of shone on on the falls. It was actually really cool. Um, I'll I'll link a picture. You can put that on the podcast for all our viewers. It was very pretty, actually.
Yeah, I saw
If only
some of
you were
the
there.
pictures that you guys the Google Drive that someone
Oh yeah.
that you
Uh
linked,
huh.
and it looked very nice. Um, very pretty.
Yeah. We'll go one day when we're all together.
Round two?
Yeah. But you couldn't make it to the Canadian side because Americans are not allowed in Canada.
I mean, how different is it in the Canadians? It's the
Well, I've
same
heard that the
water.
Canadian side is much better. I don't know. That's just what people say. People always say the Canadian side is better.
So wait, I saw the pictures that you guys took. Was it only from that angle that you could see the falls?
There was another angle, which I think it's also on the drive,
Okay,
but
because
I don't know.
the
Maybe.
the classic when you search Niagara Falls on like Google Photos, it's
Uh-huh.
from a different angle from the one that you guys
Yeah, I think
were
that's from the
at.
Canadian side.
Ah, okay. That's probably why,
Uh,
because that one has like a huge wide view of the falls.
oh, wait. Let's see. Actually, this. Well, I'm saying this. I'm not sure what photo you're referring to. No, some of these are from the American side. Like we got some of these views,
Okay.
but yeah, who knows? I mean, we'll see on the some other time when maybe when you're with us, we can go
Yeah.
see it and we
Only a
can compare for
short
ourselves.
6 more months till I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where what'd you do afterwards? Like you went to the falls at night and then the next day did you go back to the falls or what'd you guys do?
Yeah, we went back to the fall, saw it for a bit more. Went up to like a viewing platform, and then we decided that that was good enough, and then we left.
Do you have any stops on the way back or straight back?
Yeah, we saw it a couple times. Nothing like notable, just to like fill up gas and eat and stuff.
So when'd you get back?
Um. Oh, actually, what did I say? Well, of course, we had something notable. We stopped to see one of our good friends
Oh yeah, Sajit.
who lives. Sajid.
Wait, how was that?
Um,
Did you guys so you guys just drove by drive by and he's just on the porch?
yeah. No, so yeah, we went up to his porch and his mom let him come out as long as we didn't cross the sidewalk. We didn't get any closer than the
Oh
sidewalk.
my god.
We were allowed to talk to him.
Was his mom just like hovering by? What if you stepped a
No,
toe onto the sidewalk? She just like take him and just grab him right back into the house.
no, I didn't see her. I didn't see her. I wanted to say hi, meet his parents, see who produced the Sajid.
So did you guys talk? Like shout at each other?
Yeah, yeah. No, we could talk to each other. It was like within ear hearing distance. Earshot, that's the word. We chatted, nice chat. He grew out a beard.
Oh,
Yeah, it looks pretty good on him
sexy.
actually. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Hopefully I can get a
uh,
picture and we can show all our viewers.
we have a picture, as a matter of
Wait,
fact, of
really?
Sajid. We do. It is in chat, in this chat. Um, Here,
I
I
gotta see
can
this.
forward it over to you if you want me to.
Wait,
But
I
it's
think is it the earlier picture that you sent in the because that one I can't really
um.
see the beard.
Oh no, we can't. That's the best picture we have of him,
Okay. Oh, I can kind of see his beard.
unfortunately.
He has like a handlebar.
No,
It's like
he's got
all
a full
around.
beard, bro. It's
That's
like, I mean, it goes all
crazy.
the way around at least. That's
Oh
what I
my
hear.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
My man. All grown up. I mean, he was already grown
Uh-huh.
up, but he's grown up
It's
even more. This
yeah.
guy, hot. What'd you guys talk about? Catch up?
Caught up, how's life? I mean, that was my first time seeing him in over a year. One
Yeah.
year and 14 days it was.
Well, it's gonna be even longer for me. Been
Mm-hmm.
so long.
It's crazy. One day though,
Yeah,
we'll
one
be
day.
reunited.
Around, be less than 6 months. Maybe 5 months. Because guess what? I've signed. Gonna be at One On Center.
Yeah, congratulations, sir. You were able to get past the horrible UI of the website.
Guess what floor I'm on?
Through your third floor.
No, no. I wish. Wait, I'm one floor above you on the 15th, I think. You're on
15th
14th, right?
floor. It's gonna be perfect. You're
Yo,
just a little
I
one
know,
flight of
it's
stairs
just
away.
yeah, it's just gonna be real close. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still wanted lower, but apparently the higher floors are more quiet,
I see.
which is what my roommate. one of my roommates preferred. So
Congratulations, sir. I'm happy for you.
I mean, hopefully they fix the elevator issue, right? Because all of those unawares, apparently one on center had bad elevators. And what I heard, because I brought this up to my roommate when he had suggested we go for the 15th floor, and I brought up the elevator issue, and he said that he had asked the people at one on center, and they had apparently hired people to fix it. So
Oh,
it
really?
should be better. That's what he
We have
said.
good elevators.
We can only hope. And I
Mm-hmm.
really hope, because I don't want to walk up and down on the regular that place.
Well,
I'm not
hopefully they don't come fix it while we're there. Hopefully it's
right.
before.
Yeah.
Because then one of the elevators, or maybe both, will be out.
I mean, that can't take too long though. Well, maybe it
Uh-huh.
can. I don't know
Who
how
knows?
long elevator renovation takes.
Who knows?
Who knows? But oh, we're gonna be there. One on center. Yeah, what you said, I had to get
Together
past
again.
the terrible website,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I
Which
wanted
has
to.
now made an appearance in 3 out of 3
Yeah,
episodes.
part three, one on center, bad web development. I don't know if you had the same issue, but when I had my lease approved, it gave me a link to go to the resident portal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on a separate website from their actual
Really?
website. And
Wait, is it?
yes, did you
Mm-hmm.
log in with your thing?
No, I haven't tried. I mean,
Okay,
I thought it was just on the One
it's
Center
on a
website.
separate website, because the link that I got, the regular website's called oneoncenter.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is called oneoncenternew.com, or one on center like other. It has a extension, a suffix to the one on center thing. And the main thing is I can't log in with the account that I used to apply. It doesn't allow
Uh-huh.
me to log in. And I've sent an email to the the team at One on Center, and they haven't replied yet about the issue. So I still can't actually log into my resident portal thing.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, once again, bad web design. I mean, why do you need another whole nother website just for that? Oh yeah, I think it's One on Center Resident. That's like the website. It's
Oh,
has
that
like the
could be. Maybe that's
suffix.
why I didn't notice it was different. It just seemed like the same website.
Well, one thing that I
Um,
immediately saw that was different is, for some reason on the regular website, I don't have my uh Illuminate plugin, which is the extension. It's the one that like
mm-hmm.
inverts the colors. And then for
Yeah.
some reason it's enabled on the other website. So then it was just suddenly black when the website was all white for previously.
Mm-hmm. No, it seems like that extension is very inconsistent. I don't know why you still use it.
Well, how so?
It's like
What do you mean?
I don't know. It just seems like every time you bring it up, it's something that's gone wrong, or it's
Well,
you
it's
know.
not gone wrong. It's just well, like, what do you mean by gone wrong? I feel like
I
it
don't know.
worked.
It just seems like I guess yeah, it does its job. I mean, most of the time.
I mean, I
But
like
yeah,
it
that's good.
because I don't
You don't
like.
like burning your eyeballs.
And also, I don't know, it works pretty well. Like right now I'm looking at my Gmail, and it looks like actual Gmail dark mode, if there was Gmail dark mode,
Mm-hmm.
which there isn't dark mode,
Right,
which they
right.
should add Gmail dark mode. Google, if you're listening to this, add Gmail dark mode.
You get some high-profile listeners up top.
Mr. I don't know who the Larry Page, is that a guy who was
Um,
at Google? Larry Page?
Larry Page and Sergey Brin, those were the founders
Yeah.
of Google.
You're listening to this, why don't you tell your company to add dark mode, Gmail?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's crazy. Like Google being one of these big tech companies, but it's the one where you don't know the CEO, like right off the top. Like, do you know the Google CEO?
The current, I mean, I don't know the CEO of a lot of big tech
Oh, actually,
companies.
I do know the CEO. It's the Susan Wozniak.
Google CEO, I don't know.
Oh, that's the wrong CEO. Okay, that's the CEO of YouTube.
Sundar Pichai, I've heard his name.
Susan Wojcicki. That's the YouTube CEO. But what I was saying
Mm,
is, because relative to the other big tech companies like Amazon, who's the CEO? Or who was the CEO?
So the thing about Amazon is that like it's the founder, right?
Okay.
Um,
But
but
he
like
was the CEO
Sergey
too.
Brin and Larry Page, like if they were still CEO or whatever, well, if one of them was the CEO, I would know because they're the founder, right? Like Mark Zuckerberg is the founder.
Oh,
Um,
is he not the CEO of Facebook?
um, as you know, I thought he was.
Oh, well, okay. So that like
Um,
kind of proves my point because Jeff Bezos was before recently also the CEO of Amazon. And I think
no, what I was saying is, like the only reason that I know them is because they're the founder. The reason we don't know Google is because the CEO is not the founder anymore. So as soon as somebody steps down in the other companies, we won't know the CEO anymore.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my whole argument just kind of fell apart because Microsoft CEO is not Bill Gates. So,
um, yeah. So we're going to see a shift to where these big tech companies are no longer CEO'd by the founder. Like Elon Musk is not going to be um, the CEO
CEO
of
of
Tesla.
in SpaceX.
Yeah.
I'll be maybe that'll be a good day for them because it seems like their stock just goes on a roller coaster every time he tweets anything that is gonna be trending at all. All right.
yeah.
So that is enough of ourselves. I have a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and
Yeah.
one of them is uh, a guest, or not a guest, a topic that we talked about last time.
Did we talk about it last time?
Yes, it was last episode. I think we talked about ball and bankrupt.
Did we talk about it during the podcast? See,
Yes, we
to our
did.
listeners, we talk a lot, and we also talked for an additional 2 hours after the podcast ended.
Wait.
um,
Oh,
and so it
wait.
is entirely possible
Wait. It
that
is
we didn't
entirely
actually.
possible. It is entirely possible that didn't actually talk about him on the podcast, but we did talk about him. If it was on or off the podcast, we did talk about him, right? Um, and about how we watched Bald and Bankrupt.
hmm
You agree with that?
Yes,
Yes.
I agree. We
So,
did indeed talk about Bald and Bankrupt at some
so
point.
for all you viewers who don't know who Bald and Bankrupt is, he is a YouTuber who goes around to ex-Soviet countries and makes videos about his travels there.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that's basically his whole channel. So, and I don't know how we talked about him. I don't know what the thread of conversation that led to
Talking about
that.
traveling.
But I wanted to bring you up again today because I'd always, when I watched his videos, I remember there was a time when I watched one of his videos that someone in the comment was like complaining about him and saying he's like a bad guy and stuff, but I never knew
Uh-huh.
why because I don't think the person in the comments properly explained it. And then recently, I was on Reddit. Fuck my life, I shouldn't be on Reddit, but I was on Reddit for that one time. And somebody was talking about I think they were talking about it was a post about the anniversary of the dissolution of the USSR.
hmm
And they were just talking about like ex-Soviet states and stuff. Someone brought up Bald and Bankrupt. And then somebody else replied to that comment saying, you know, Bald and Bankrupt is a bad person, blah blah blah. And then he linked this post about it's on a subreddit called Bald and Balder, the Balder without a E, Dossier. And if you read that thing, it's a whole explanation about how this dude is a sex tourist, a pickup artist who basically pressures people into sex in
It's crazy.
these ex-Soviet countries. And I was mind blown when I read this.
Crazy. I haven't actually read it. I just read the
Okay,
title,
I'll give you like
but
a brief
a brief
synopsis.
rundown,
Yeah,
please.
so there's a person on there's like these forums online for where pickup artists like congregate and talk about stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And apparently there's this one person called Vorkuta, or on here they say Vorkuta slash the Fantasist, okay? But we'll just call him Vorkuta. And apparently
Zakuta.
Vorkuta on this forum talked about a time where he had been accused of rape, he and two friends, and how he had been acquitted. And he talked about certain things about that situation and what he did afterwards. And people had found a newspaper article in the Southampton Daily Echo. That's what they said here. And it matches the exact same circumstances, like the details in the newspaper article, as what Vorkuta described. And in the newspaper article, they described a guy called, who's it? Benjamin Rich. And apparently that's the name of the bald and bankrupt guy. So that's like already one connection, right? And apparently, like, this guy and his two friends were accused of rape, and they were acquitted. And it was only apparently like the charges were dropped because the victim got confused who had raped her or something. So
Uh-huh.
it was like a technicality or
That's crazy.
just confusion, right? So I don't know. Maybe he really did do it. We don't really know. But then later on, it's talking about how this Vorkuta Benjamin Rich, how is it connected? How is it the same person as the bald and bankrupt Rich? Because it's the same, the bald and bankrupt person, he's also called Benjamin Rich, right? So here's like a list of things. The first thing is describing similarities between physical similarities. So Vorkuta describes he is bald and 6'3" in height. I don't even know why would you describe. Well, I guess it's like a pickup artist form, right? But I don't know why
Yeah.
you would be describing yourself just like, yeah, I'm fucking 6'3" and jacked or something. Like I don't get it, but he talks about how he's 6'3" in height, and this is apparently identical to like what Bald and Bankrupt mentions his height in his videos. Workuta also describes um, himself as being from Jewish heritage, and Bald and Bankrupt also describes the same thing and regularly wears like a Star of David T-shirt and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Workuta describes about a trip that he went to India where
Mm-hmm.
he was really ill. Like it was just a trip to India, and the exact events was described the same by Bald and Bankrupt in one of his early YouTube videos, apparently. And then same with how Vorkuta details how he learned Russian. Apparently the events.
Well, he knows Russian. That's like the big.
Right.
That's a big clue. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I mean there's just more and more connections. One like Vorkuta having a young Belarusian girlfriend, Bald and Bankrupt the same. So they're just adding all these connections together, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
one Vorkuta explains his. This is the part where I was like, this guy is crazy. Vorkuta explains his gaming of women tactics in detail. He explains his most successful technique is to befriend the local men and babushkas, earn their
Uh-huh.
adulation and respect by accidentally showing them fake pictures of himself in affluent settings, and then after that, he would be introduced by these old local men and babushkas to the young women of the town, and then from there he would then, I don't know, talk with the women and have sex with them. And
Jesus.
Vorkuta calls, apparently the Vorkuta, the guy on the pickup artist forums, called it the Schindler technique.
The Schindler
The
technique.
Schindler technique.
Oh my gosh.
And this kind of pattern of picking up women is apparently what Bald and Bankrupt does in his videos as well. Like I can't say for sure I like no agree with this because I never saw um I never fully watched his videos, right? But I definitely know that he
I have seen.
in his videos he like just talk he definitely does like go and talk with like the local people and like the old
Right. Right.
ladies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean
He
that
calls him
does match.
babushka too. I remember
Yeah.
in the videos. He's like tells him babushka.
Right, and that is one of the points. Is like he uses the same vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. Vorkuta and Bald and Bankrupt both regularly use words like hotties, babushkas, gopniks, and Soviet. Okay, Soviet, that's a bit of a reach. That's like,
Yeah.
that's that's huge, but right. Now there's even more. Their past occupations. Vorkuta describes himself as an amateur photographer that's fascinated with the former Soviet Republic, and Bald and Bankrupt does the same. And he talked about how he'd previously been a photographer for a website called Desolation Travel. And there's like a picture on this dossier thing that shows who this dude is, and it like matches up with what the descriptions that Vorkuta had said. So, and then this is like huge. Vorkuta explains how he has an ex-wife and a daughter, and how they both live in Nice, in France. And then Bald and Bankrupt regularly writes on his like social medias that he's a regular visitor to Nice and that he visits Nice on the regular.
Oh man.
And then the big thing is that also you like you might think that maybe someone did all of this to like frame Bald and Bankrupt, right? Have all of the things to like match the info. And the on here it says that all of these posts by Vorkuta are from 2009 to 2015, which is like all prior to when Bald and Bankrupt and his channel was like uploading videos. So this is done before. So if it was like impersonation, it'd be the other way around. It'd be Bald and Bankrupt trying to impersonate Vorkuta, which I don't know why you would want to do that if you actually weren't him. And then
some unemployed.
right. And then the last big thing is apparently there's another dude on this pickup artist forum. He's called Tractor, and he talks about like having met up with being friends with other pickup artists and talks about adventures and stuff. And there's this one where he said, I have to say that the people who I have all met from RFV, I'm guessing RFV is like RVF is the forum. He said, I have formed lasting friendships with Vorkuta, in parentheses, Mr. Bald.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. So that's a summary of like the most important points from what I read about that. But
that's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, that is.
I guess you have to separate the man from the work. You can't. That's what they say. You know.
It's not good. And then later on, they're just describing like why he's a piece of shit, and they say there was a time where Vorkuta boasts of forcing a young hitchhiker to give him a blowjob in exchange for $6 on the threat that if she did not comply, he might leave her in the middle of nowhere as they were traveling alone in a car.
Horrible.
That is horrible. And apparently there's like another one. I think you get the picture. This guy is
not a good dude.
Yeah. And there's connections. Apparent connections. Like, of course you can't say for sure, but there's definitely connections there.
Right.
So I thought that was just interesting because we talked about him, and then I saw this recently, and that I just kind of blew my mind.
That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what else you could say. That's just not good.
Yeah, I guess he's not canceled though, right? He still exists.
I think the main thing is that people don't really know because like this post, it's on a separate subreddit. And it only has like 286 upvotes, 90 comments.
That's true.
It's not very well.
It hasn't blown up yet.
Not very.
It hasn't been taken up by one of the big podcasters like us yet.
we're doing our part.
But now we're exposing him.
Exactly, we're doing our part here. We'll link it in the description if I remember to do that of this podcast. So if you're interested, if you were a Bald and Bankrupt fan as well, you want to read about this.
You should not be a fan of Bald and Bankrupt anymore. Go and downvote his video. I'm just kidding. We do not support.
Brigading. That's the term, right?
Brigading.
Yeah,
that's the word. Yes.
I mean, we don't know for sure, right? that this guy
Exactly. This is all alleged.
alleged,
You
yes,
know,
but it's
we don't want
compelling.
our massive fan base to go and ruin his day.
Yeah, we don't want to be accused of cancel culture, right?
Mhm.
That's not what we're trying to go for here. But yeah, I thought that was just something relevant with what we were talking about before.
But if it's true,
If it's
it's
true,
pretty bad.
right? You just got to keep beating that.
Mhm.
Right. So people are crazy. This guy's crazy if it's true. This is crazy in like a malicious, evil way, but people are just crazy in general. I just saw a
Mhm.
story today when I was watching the news. There was a guy
Yeah.
who wanted an up close picture with the elephants at the San Diego Zoo.
Uh-huh.
So
I like where this is going.
he brought his 2-year-old daughter, and they
Oh.
went past like all the barriers and stuff and went into the elephant enclosure.
Uh-huh.
And I mean
Are
they
they
didn't get
okay?
trampled or anything, but
Okay.
yeah, here's like the article. I just saw it and it's just like what are you doing? I was so mind blown when I heard that he did it because he wanted a picture.
That's
Make
crazy.
memories. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it almost was more memorable than it needed to be.
Well, it wouldn't have even been a memory. Like he would have just been a
Dead.
smudge on the ground. Yeah.
Well, it's been memorable for us.
Well, not
Um,
in a good way.
not in a good way, no. But
Right. A father has been
too bad.
arrested on, and they're charging him with child endangerment, which is,
As he should be.
yes, after he carried his 2-year-old daughter into the elephant habitat at the San Diego Zoo to take a photograph with the animals. The man bypassed multiple barriers and purposely and illegally trespassed. And like,
Yeah, people are
there's
treating
like
our
a
children.
video of it of him inside. He like dropped the kid by while he
He
was
dropped the kid.
no, he didn't leave her there. He like dropped it and then quickly picked her up again as he was trying to escape.
Mhm.
But that's just like even more scary.
I'd say you got another Harambe.
Yeah, except it's just a adult and I don't think elephants can I don't know drag kids around.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be much worse.
Yeah, I mean
It'd be much worse than Harambe.
elephants don't have the finesse, right? Harambe was just having fun with the kid.
Yeah, so sad.
Uh, I was I'm wondering if he didn't bring his child, what do you think he would have been charged with?
Um,
Trespassing.
if he didn't bring a child, yeah, I guess trespassing. Um,
Stupidity. Yeah. That's just
that's pretty crazy.
that's not in a good way. That's like people just not not doing what they're supposed to do, which is take care of your child and not bring them into elephant pits.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, no, he has some responsibilities as a parent,
yeah.
and one of them is not dragging your kids into elephant pits.
Wise
um,
words.
yeah.
I feel like there was this I forgot where I saw this, but someone was advocating that parents should go through some kind of parental training before they become a parent.
Yeah.
Because isn't this so weird? These two people, your parents, are tasked with raising you, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't have prior experience. Think of it as a job, right? Job,
Right.
parent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you? And this is an important job. What do you typically look
Mm-hmm.
for when you're hiring something for an important position? Prior experience,
Well, I feel
skills, the relevant
like
skills.
yeah, they don't have any of that, but they do have like millions of years of evolution that like has built in their instinct to rear children. That's like that has to count for something, right?
Okay,
Like
that definitely
it's something
does
that comes
count
very
for
natural to
something.
humans.
Okay,
Huh?
that counts for something, but does that
Mm-hmm.
count for enough? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of some dangerous territory too. I feel because if you require a mandatory class to become a parent, then you discourage people from becoming parents on the aggregate level, and then you get a lower birth rate. So I'm not sure if that's what a lot of countries want. You know, like if Japan, for instance, instituted a mandatory parent training class, then like they would just make matters worse for themselves because fewer people would become parents.
That's true. What I was thinking you were saying is, what would happen if you like gave birth and then you failed your class and then the baby gets taken away? That's like even worse.
That would be worse,
That would be
yes.
terrible. So,
hmm Or, I
um,
mean, at least to us with our cultural context and background, it would be.
where would it
Um,
not be?
well, I'm
Because
just saying, in other cultures, perhaps, maybe in the future, when
in the future.
uh, you never know how things happen and change. It could be seen different. Like in Sparta, you know, you've heard un- babies that were like unfit would just be like left out in the mountains to die. And that was just like normal for them. It's like in different periods, different cultural contexts, things are different, you know.
Yeah. I'm just
But to
thinking,
us, it seems abhorrent, right, to take
yeah.
away babies from their parents.
I mean, it's like the subject of, do you ever read the fiction series like Among the Hidden?
No,
It's not the
I
same
haven't.
thing, but the premise of the book series is you're only allowed to have like one child. So if you
Okay,
have
like
more
China.
than right, but in China, I don't think they like kill the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think in
Yeah, I
China,
think it's
if you
like
have another child, you get like money
a
penalty.
fine or
Yeah,
something.
you get
Yeah.
fines and stuff. I don't think they actually kill people, but in this like premise of the series, well, actually, I don't even know if they kill people. I didn't read the whole series, and I don't
Well, I don't
remember.
think. Okay, we should also clarify. Yeah, we're not saying that China doesn't kill anyone. um,
Right.
but yeah,
China's
you
bad.
continue.
Well, I think if they killed, I think they don't have that as a general policy, like the baseline policy, because they
Right.
killed every
It's
single.
not public anyway.
Yeah, it's not public. You never know with China, right? Um, but that's kind of like there are fiction books about this kind of stuff, control,
hmm
and it's in real life, I guess, in China. So
Right.
it's not that um foreign of a idea that this could happen.
hmm Um, yeah, there's a lot of things that you could do. It's very you have to be very careful when making policy because you can like cause aggregate changes in things that you like didn't intend to cause changes in. Like if you increase taxes on, or I guess you get a tax break, right? You get a tax break for having children. If you like decrease that by a little bit, then you can have like a significant, substantial change in the birth rate of your country. And so
Like less
you
births.
can like, yeah, you have less birth. So you can like change the behavior of your people just by like changing how the tax uh, is carried out.
Wait, so that
Um,
kind of implies that people do it just for the tax break then. Like, is that
well,
the
surely
cause
that
and
factors in,
effect?
right? So when you are thinking about the aggregate, right, um, then things that benefit a certain activity will lead to more of that activity, right?
So wait,
So that's like a cost benefit
what do you
thing.
mean when you say when you're considering the aggregate?
Um, so if you, well, the aggregate as in like you're applying taxes to like the entire population, right? You're doing something for everyone, the aggregate economy, you know, sum of all people,
Okay.
um, right? Or if you're giving out stimulus checks to every single adult in the country, that would cause massive aggregate change.
Okay.
Yeah, so the idea is to like increase spending by a lot, and it's by doing this. So that'll have like a massive impact on the economy.
So if that's true, like just incentivizing birth with tax credits, why are some nations still like why doesn't Japan do this? Or if they
I
do
think they
this,
do.
why is it not working?
I don't know if it doesn't work. Maybe it would be worse if they didn't have it. Like I know Hungary, for example, I saw on 60 Minutes one time. They're like super like prioritizing birth rates, and they have like many government programs. You get like huge benefits for having children, and the benefits increase with the more children you have. So yeah, a lot of countries are doing that, right? And there's many different policies you could have. Like some, like I can't even think of, some nobody has thought of that can like affect this. Right. What you're doing is you're changing the cost benefit analysis on the micro level, and so that'll change a lot in the macro level.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
guess
idea.
so. Countries are doing that to combat the low birth rate specifically, and not like just population loss.
Yeah. So sluggish birth rate can lead to population loss in the future, right? Although in Hungary, I guess not anymore. Like, people have lots of kids now. I think it's working. I'm not actually sure. But like in the countries where they're probably being more aggressive with it, like they're already losing people. Like a lot of countries, especially in Eastern Europe and Japan, obviously, are having issues with their birth rates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you just pump up the birth rate, it's like a seesaw. One goes up,
It's hard
other
to
goes
do
down.
though. It's a
Yeah.
demographic transition model for those of you who have taken AP Human Geography. You know what I'm talking about.
What, with the birth rates?
Yeah, yeah. Ever heard of the demographic transition model?
No, I don't know because I've never taken AP
HCAP?
geography.
Okay. Well, I guess we're appealing to a wide audience here, aren't we? Um, yeah, basically, you can look it up. It's like your birth rates start off high and your death rates start off high, and then you like become developed, and as you develop, your death rate falls, and your birth rate stays high, and then your birth rate falls later on.
And then your
So
death
that,
rate goes up.
and then
Like
your death rate goes up.
and then
Um,
how do you then rebalance the scales?
well, they kind of naturally balance out eventually.
Oh,
I don't
eventually
know.
it'll
We don't actually know. We're like there's like 4 stages or whatever in the model, and like Japan is sort of entering a fifth stage, that is population decline. So
wait,
we don't actually know what happens.
what are the previous four stages then? The first one is initial.
So the first one is high death rate. It has been maybe 5 years, 6 years, is it, since I've learned this? So forgive me if I'm a bit shaky on the details. But the first phase is high birth rates, high death rates, and so you have like, I think of like cavemen, all right? They like went out and they got like mauled by mammoths. Okay. Uh, and they also had lots of kids, so that's how that works. Um, and so then the second stage is like you have the beginnings of industrialization. You get like
Wait,
medicine and
so
stuff.
from the beginning of human history all the way up to the Industrial Revolution, that's phase one.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Um,
I
and
mean, I would
I mean,
think
if you
there's
look at
like in
a
between, like
graph,
we become more developed, right? Like I feel like
yeah, I mean, I guess there's like learning, but no, but like as far as population growth is concerned, the human population, like it hit its first billion in like the 19th century,
right, okay.
maybe the 17th century. I mean, sorry, 18th century rather. And then like the second billion was like in the 19th century. Then the third billion, fourth, fifth, and sixth billion were all in the 20th century. And then like we hit the seventh billion recently. So it's an extremely rapid increase, only in like modern times.
Okay, that makes
Um, yeah, and so like the second phase is your death rate's lower, and that's when you get the massive population growth. And then your like death rate kind of bottoms out, and then your birth rate starts to decline, and so then you still have large population growth, but the rate of growth is declining, and that's the
the
third
second
phase.
derivative is now negative.
The second derivative is negative; it's concave down
Yeah.
um, for the birth rate. And for population growth too, yeah. And then the fourth rate is they sort of kind of match up and even out. And that's sort of what most of the developed world is at, like Western Europe, the US, Canada, that sort of deal. And they're kind of like balanced out. I guess maybe slight, modest population growth, but that's mostly due to immigration, not because of birth rates.
Right.
And then, so that's stage 4. And then the hypothetical, right, theorized stage 5 is when your death rate starts to go up because your population is aging. And this is like Japan, and you have like population decline. Also, much of Eastern Europe is experiencing this.
Yeah. I feel like Eastern Europe, though, it's also a huge deal of people moving out of those countries and going to like the
It
West.
could be, but they also have very low birth rates, rather.
Right. There's like that
a-
makes it even worse. Like both
Yeah.
happening at the same time just contribute to the problem even more. Tough.
So what do you do? I mean, I don't know. How do you combat the problem? Like the stage 5, there's nothing you can do really, right? There's no like technology that you can do to like keep people from dying. The issue is that they're already so old,
Yeah.
At least you make them immortal.
I mean, don't count technology out. Maybe
Yeah.
one day in the future.
I don't know. I'm not a medicine man. I'm no shaman. I don't know.
Well, medicine and technology like just go hand in hand now, and we are
Yeah.
technology men, so we're part of the resistance
The
to death,
revolution.
the
The
revolution,
resistance against death.
resistance against death,
Who knows?
right?
Dude, if they could cure like Alzheimer's, what would you say is you're most afraid of
Or
in terms
death?
of disease?
Oh, disease.
Death or disease or some kind of ailment. We're like young, healthy adults, so we don't really have much afflicting
All I
us.
think Alzheimer's is pretty scary. That's the one where
Mm-hmm.
you like lose your memory, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, that
You lose
one's
everything
that's the
eventually. Yeah.
that's pretty scary because memories are your identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are what define.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you don't have memories,
Yeah, I agree.
how do you describe?
Well, you don't know who you are. You eventually forget who you are, right?
Yeah, and that's Alzheimer's. That the same for you, Alzheimer's?
Yeah, that's what I would have said. Um, it's scary, man. I wouldn't like to live like that. This is a potentially touchy subject, but
How so?
assisted euthanasia,
Mm,
like as soon as you get the diagnosis, it's all downhill from there. As of now, right? There's nothing you can do. You can maybe slow it
yeah.
slightly, but it's
Yeah.
just
It's actually
why should I?
very interesting that you brought up assisted euthanasia because I recently saw that Spain was a country that
Mm-mm,
legalized this.
mm.
So I don't know if you're dying, you get Alzheimer's, just
That
move
is
to
pain.
Spain
I remember
now.
seeing an article.
Yeah.
There was an article about this mathematician who was like 103 years old, from Australia. He like flew to Switzerland, and he was like, I've lived a long, good, productive life. I think it's time to go. And he I think it's legal in Switzerland too. Um, that's why he went there.
I thought it would be he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He's like losing all his math knowledge now as a math professor.
Hmm.
Like,
No, I
no,
don't
I
know.
can't I can't handle this.
Right, like
Yeah.
John von Neumann. Um, Towards the end of his life, John von Neumann was like known for being extremely intelligent.
I don't know who that guy
Um,
is.
no, he was a mathematician.
Okay.
And that's funny. He like worked on the Manhattan Project and stuff. He was like a cool guy. He would like recite whole pages from literature just like for the fun of it.
Math literature
It's
or
like
just
crazy what he would
literature?
do. What?
Like math literature or just literature in
No,
general?
just like randomly like Goethe or something. Um, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of what he would do. He would do so many things. He was like renowned for being like extremely intelligent. You know. Um, this is part of where I derive my ideas for what intelligence should be. Um, and so towards the end of his life, he sort of like lost a lot of it, and he was very upset because of it. He died of cancer, probably because of the stuff he did in the Manhattan Project.
Wait, he lost like the stuff that he learned? Did he have
No, so
some?
he was still like a very intelligent. He was like he started like forgetting his like knowledge of like random literature or
Oh,
whatever,
and this is just like from
um,
old age, not from.
no, it was just like general deterioration of his
Right.
health. I think because like he wasn't well, he was
Yeah,
sick.
that makes sense.
Cancer is pretty bad, but this was like maybe a few weeks before he died. I'm trying to remember some of the things. Like you ever in your physics class you hear that problem of the cars. You have like two cars and they're coming towards each other at some like speed. And then you have a bird that like flies from one car to the other. You know,
What?
and like how far does the bird fly before the cars collide or something? That's like a famous problem. I don't know. It's like
Really?
something you learn about in physics.
I
And there's
what
like a very
when I think of two cars going against each other in physics, I think of more of a momentum problem. Like, what is
okay.
the momentum? Is it a elastic collision? That's what I think of
Yeah,
because I remember it wasn't cars specifically, but it was like I think it was trains.
balls.
They
Oh,
said
okay.
yeah, it was balls or like trains, and it's like what is the collision that happens?
Right. No, I mean we don't talk about the collision. It's just like I guess you can say pass each other until the cars pass each other and the bird stops
Make it
flying.
less morbid,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Um, anyway, there's like a very easy way of solving the problem. You just like see how long the cars take in order to pass each other, and then you like do math with the speed of the bird, you know. And it's like an easy way to solve the problem.
And this is
Um,
what he did. Like he.
no. So basically, so one of his like math buddies, I don't remember, like he asked him this problem because it's like a trick, just kind of like a trick question, you know. And then like it took him like two answers to like answer the question, like 2 seconds to answer the question. And so his math buddy was like, "Oh, so you know the trick then?" And then he was like, "No, I just did the I did the sum, like this massive sum that you would do if you did it the hard way." And so you do like things like that, you know. He would just like he was very quick um, with a lot of things. Very smart guy,
Wow, that's sad
and
then.
he kind of
Deteriorated, died of cancer,
yeah,
got cancer.
because nobody knew like what radiation did, you know,
Really, even back
in
then in
the 40s.
I mean,
I mean, like
when was Marie Curie? And that was
Mercury was late 19th, early 20th century.
late 19th,
Um,
earliest. So that was before the
Manhattan Project, yeah.
Manhattan
But
Project.
like nobody, I don't know. I guess like a lot of the safety standards that we have today weren't around
Right,
in the
that's
40s.
true.
Yeah.
I remember I think even in the 1950s and stuff, I think didn't people have like picnics to watch nuclear bomb tests?
Yeah, they could have. They also had like radium clocks. Oh, yes, I remember it. I don't know if you noticed this. I think this was in the what's that chess show called?
The
The
chess
little
show?
miniseries chess.
Oh,
Uh,
Queen's Gambit.
yes, the Queen's Gambit. I don't know how I forgot. um, there was a radium clock in the show. There was like a glow in the dark clock. I'm pretty sure it was in the Queen's Gambit. That was pretty cool. Um, so in like the 50s and 60s, it was very popular to have these glow in the dark clocks, and they would have like radium in them. They'd be like radioactive clocks, and you just like keep them there for show.
And they just and you just get
Yeah,
radiation poisoning from them.
it's crazy what people would do with like radioactive stuff before they knew.
Yeah, and when how did we know then? Like when was the switch where it was just
No idea.
like
People started dying of cancer. Who knows? Radiation workers.
yeah, that's pretty scary.
Hmm.
It's like the same with lead, right?
Right.
Lead was like a huge part of building structures and different things.
Hmm. So not just that, the Romans used it to sweeten their wine. They used it like a sugar.
Wait, now I'm
Um,
curious. Is lead actually like sweet taste?
yeah, it is sweet. I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly. Like if
Um,
people don't actually taste it, how do you know? How can you measure taste?
hmm, I don't know. How
So
can you measure taste?
yeah, is this like a conspiracy? Are we only basing this off the fact that Romans used it to sweeten their wines?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was just the Romans. I think it was um, other people too. Like we didn't really know lead was bad for you until we didn't know a lot of things were bad for you until recently. There's probably a lot of things we still don't know are bad for you. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure people have like tried it and like written it down.
Yeah. I propose we probably need to update our information. Yeah.
Don't go out looking lead. That's
I
not
I
the advice of
I
the podcast.
advocate for anybody if you do go out and lick lead, which we don't advocate.
If you do,
If you do,
yeah.
please call in, tell us how it tastes, inform
I
the
do live
general
to tell the
public.
tale.
Yeah, do it for
Yeah.
the greater good of humanity. We need
Don't
to
do
know.
it for the greater good of
Okay,
humanity.
no, no,
I'm not
no.
saying to do it.
Right.
But if you do it,
If you
do
do
it
it,
for the
yes,
good of
yes.
humanity.
Don't do it halfway. Like lick the lead and then don't tell anyone about how it tastes
Yeah.
because that's important for us to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lead like makes you stupid. So there's a lot of theories that are like that's what caused the fall of the Roman Empire.
Wait, how do they know that though? Like ingesting lead?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we obviously know it's bad for you, right? We probably know what the effects of lead are,
Okay.
you know.
Right. Wait, so lead is only bad for you? Is it just any contact or is it like ingesting it, having it like go
Um,
inside your body?
it probably has to go inside your body. I don't know. Oh well, no, it's probably just inside your body. Like people use solder, right? Lead solder to like wire their things or whatever.
Right.
And I think you can touch that, you know, but you're supposed to wash your hands after.
That really enough? Just washing your hand? Like what if it just absorbs your skin?
Into your skin. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. You ever hear the story of the lady who was like she was working with some mercury solution, and the mercury like it like went through her gloves into her hand,
Oh
like through
my.
her bloodstream or whatever.
Through her
Um,
bloodstream?
like it was like absorbed into like through her skin.
Like through
Um,
the gloves. It went through the gloves and then into
it
her
went through the
skin.
gloves, through her skin, into her bloodstream.
And what happened?
Um, she died.
I
Uh,
mean, why am I laughing? That's not good,
it's
but
pretty bad. Yeah,
that's
sorry, I was a bit blunt. That's why. No, like she like slowly lost her mind
oh
over
my
time. She couldn't
god.
like move. She like became paralyzed. It was pretty bad.
And this was just one time that the mercury went through the
Yeah, just like
gloves.
a drop.
One
It was like a
drop?
special. It was like yeah, pretty much.
What?
Um, it was like a special solution though. It was like
Oh, maybe it's like highly concentrated.
I don't know. I mean, if it's pure mercury, like that's probably as concentrated as you can get, right?
That, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
dude. But you know how you probably know how the first emperor of China or whatever, the Qin Shi Huang,
I don't
how he
actually
died.
know. No, I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
don't know?
I'm telling you,
It's so ironic.
I
Uh-huh.
don't know a lot about Chinese history. I like know barely anything.
Um, that's fine. For our listeners too, if it's good. So basically, it's kind of funny. I shouldn't laugh, but it was like
He's dead now.
2,000 years ago.
He's not
So
listening.
yeah,
Don't worry
yeah,
about it.
more than 2,000 years. Um, so basically, he was like wanted an elixir of life. You know, he wanted to live forever, become immortal.
As all emperors
And
want.
so yes, and so he like set out his best and greatest minds to create this elixir of life, and they came back with the mercury solution. And that was his elixir of life.
And he just drank it.
He drank it and died.
Like right away?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what the symptoms are. He probably like it took a while, but like he died.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
they like had to sneak his body through China because he like died away from home or something. I don't remember.
Oh my
And they wanted to keep it
god.
secret.
Fire his was it his
Yeah.
scientists?
I mean, the Qin dynasty only lasted like 14 years. So
Yeah, that's don't trust the science.
they built the terracotta army. So
Oh, it was for him?
to house his body. That was his
Oh,
burial tomb.
wow. I didn't know that. I
So
didn't know it was that
yeah.
dude. Should the terracotta army is specifically there to fight against Mercury. Any kind of Mercury, they're gonna poke it.
Yeah.
It doesn't come. That's poor dude. I mean, downfall wasn't even. I mean, it is his own hubris that kind of trying to go for an
Yeah.
immortal elixir, but it was his advisors or whoever gave him the elixir that fucked up.
Maybe they knew. They were
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what I was
kill him.
thinking. Maybe it's an inside job,
Yeah.
and he got away with it because none of us in history now know, and
Right.
they did it successfully. Maybe he was a terrible
hmm
emperor. Well, he probably was. I don't know. All emperors
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how you define terrible. Like Ivan the Terrible was
terrible.
terrible in some sense, but he also like founded the state of Russia or whatever as we know it today, the Tsardom, and centralized the government and stuff. So he was like a strong leader, but he was terrible in the sense that he was ruthless. So I mean, my question is, what do you mean by terrible?
Um, yeah, it's whatever perspective you're looking through it, whatever perspective you're using at the time. Like maybe we're talking about nation building, and then Ivan the Terrible will be Ivan the Great.
Uh-huh.
But then
I think some people do call him Ivan the Great.
uh, even though wait, so he's called Ivan the Great and Ivan the Terrible.
Um,
Who calls him what?
well, actually, no, he's not called Ivan the Great. There's a different Ivan the Great. It's a
Okay.
different Ivan.
I mean,
Um,
that would be like the biggest contrast. Like some people love him, some hate him. That's
no,
just
no,
like
no.
Donald
That's
Trump.
not.
Okay, you know what?
What I was saying is terrible does not mean he was bad. That's not like Ivan the Bad. Um, Ivan the Great, by the way, was his dad. Um,
Something went wrong.
no, so Ivan the Terrible means that he was like a ruthless leader,
Yeah.
not that he was bad. He's very well known for being like the guy that made Russia. You know, he wasn't bad.
Yeah, but he
Um,
still got the nickname the Terrible.
yeah, yeah. No, but terrible. It's like it's a Russian word. Like it's hard to translate into English or whatever.
Oh, okay, so it
Um,
doesn't mean like English terrible. Like a
well,
different.
I mean, so terrible in English has multiple meanings, also, right? Um,
So what
it's
meaning
like
is this supposed to mean for this dude?
um, like ruthless, sort of like
I never knew terrible was terrible meaning.
like
Extremely or distressingly bad or serious, causing
so
or
the other
likely
definition,
to cause terror, sinister.
yeah, that one,
I mean,
yeah,
that's.
like terror, you know,
Oh, okay, I see.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. According to the Wikipedia page, other translations include Ivan the Formidable and Ivan the Fearsome.
Right. So
So
that's
yeah,
a lot more, doesn't have nearly as much negative connotation as terrible.
right,
Yeah. Left his mark on history.
yeah.
Ivan the.
I think he killed his own son, if I'm remembering
So
that
we don't get
correctly.
another Ivan the Great, Ivan the Terrible, Ivan the Neutral. We don't get the neutral. It was the terrible. I mean, that does make
um,
you kind of terrible in both senses. Like that's not good.
yeah,
What's the side? Like patricide, matricide. What's the one for killing your own son?
I don't know.
Sonicide. Regicide?
Yeah.
No, that's like brother,
No,
right?
Regicide killing a king.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
completely wrong. Okay.
yeah.
Fraticide. Fratricide.
Fratricide.
That's the
Fratricide is killing
brother.
your brother.
Okay.
Hmm.
Or sister.
Yeah, sibling.
Yeah,
Well,
sibling.
yeah, maybe. Is
Oh,
it?
you call it
Is
sororicide, sorority.
no, yeah, fratricide. Like it's like fraternité, right? In French, and
Yeah.
like brotherhood.
Okay. Killing children side. Filicide.
Side.
That's literally all you have to do to. There's a Wikipedia page, lists of types of killing, and it's
Oh, I see.
called filicide, the act of a parent killing their child.
Filicide. There you go. Wait, really? The Philadelphia
No, it's not
comes from.
PH, it's FI.
Oh, okay.
FILI.
All right. I see. I
Filicide.
was about to say the Greek is it means like sibling
I mean, there's
also.
also pedicide, that's also the act of killing a child.
Oh, that makes sense.
Pediatrician, probably.
Or yeah, the other one.
Nepoticide, the act of
Is that
killing
killing your
one's.
nephew?
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
fun.
is that nepotism? Is that connected with the same root?
Yeah, yeah.
Nephew?
So the original practice of nepotism is like sticking your nephews in positions of power.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what? Wait, I was joking about sororicide, but that's actually a thing. The act of killing one's sister.
Oh, really?
Fratricide is
Fratricide is his brother. Yeah,
fratricide
that
is
makes sense.
brother. Sororicide is, and then one's wife is uxoricide. Uxoricide.
I think it's Greek.
Greek. That's so funny. I remember you said no, it wasn't you. It was someone we know that was like when they first saw oh no. I think it was I heard it somewhere else. They were like Greek people actually write with math symbols.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? No, I think I
Yeah.
heard it somewhere else also. Like I heard two different
Really?
people say this, I think. But
Um, no, yeah, my calc professor in high school, um, he always told us these stories about how when he was in the Navy.
oh, okay. Wait,
He-
never mind. I think it was just you then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so he had a colleague, what do you call them? Like a peer in the Navy. You're somebody that you're in the Navy with, okay?
Comrade.
Yeah, he had a friend, yeah, sure, in the Navy. And he was Greek. And the way he told the story, he was like, "Oh, I had a friend when I was in the Navy. He had a very deep voice, you know. I had a friend, and he was Greek, and so one time I went into his room. You know, he asked me to go get something from his desk, and so I went on his desk, and so he had this note to his family back in Greece. That's how he told the story.
Greece, that
and
land
so
of
I
so far away, the
and
mythical
so I
land of
looked at this
Greece.
note, and it was incredible. All these letters, they were in Greek. They were Greek letters, and I thought it was crazy because these Greek people, they write in math. They're just incredible.
And he was a
Um,
math. Wait, was he a math teacher before or afterward?
um, he was sorry. So he's a professor. This was Calc 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like he studied math in school, right, and became a professor through that route. And he was studied at the Naval Academy, so I guess
Oh,
his
okay.
naval
I was
service
gonna
came
say
afterwards.
if he started pursuing teaching math afterwards, like this inspired him. He's like,
His origin story.
there's a whole language here. Origin story. Yeah, that's how he became the math professor.
That would be so funny. That was it. No, man, the way he told the stories were so funny, bro.
Imagine that being your motivation to become a teacher.
Study math. Yeah.
Haha, math symbols, funny language. I want to. I don't know what I'm saying. It just would be a kind of a. I mean, that would be a funny origin story to say, even though
He
it would
wanted to learn Greek to like communicate with his Greek friend, and he
so
signed up
he
for the wrong
learned
class. He saw a
math.
bunch of Greek symbols. He
Wow.
studied math by accident instead.
Yeah. When was this? This when he was in the.
Um, he's kind of old. I mean, maybe. Well, let's say he's in his 60s now. I guess 40 years ago, we'll say.
That's pre-internet then.
Yeah, definitely pre-internet.
Like, what did you? I think we talked about this earlier, right? In the first episode, we were talking about how the internet, it changed the
Mm-hmm,
way we lived, right?
mm-hmm,
Because everything is now connected, everything is faster,
mm-hmm.
and um, so if you didn't have the internet, what'd you do all day? I think that's what we were talking about, right? Just
Yeah,
sat there, went outside. Who goes outside? Goes outside to play, and
yeah,
yeah, and how much more? Because the internet, it only became this much of a this ingrained. Like, because I saw a video on Reddit of David Bowie, and he was talking about the internet
mm-hmm,
just like 20 years ago. And people back then were still just using the internet as like a tool, um,
mm-hmm,
like merely just a tool, not like a huge part of their lives, where it's just, I don't know, transferring data, like maybe just as
mm-hmm.
And David Bowie was talking about how the internet is going to change everything and it's going to make how we live just completely different. And he's right, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it especially happened with like smartphones, but even before that, with just personal computers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they already had personal computers, but I actually really, it was like the smartphone. It just made everything a lot faster because everything is right in your pocket. You can do, you aren't constrained to a computer anymore.
Yeah.
So with that, that's just in 10 years. Like that was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Like less than 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is like for us, it's kind of normal. I guess we did grow up right before smartphones. We grew up with smartphones. Like,
Yeah, because you can say that.
yeah.
You're a first, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm
we're a
just,
technology generation. We're the
uh-huh.
first generation to have grown up with like this advanced internet type
Yeah, so
computer.
all the people that are older, right? I never thought about how much they had to adapt because
Mm-hmm.
with how quickly everything changed in like 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people that are way older than us but are still super tech savvy. I mean, that's an accomplishment in a way because you
Exactly.
kind of had to change your whole way of living. You had
Right.
like this set way for maybe like the first 30 years of your life. Now with um how much more uh intertwined the internet is and with
Mm-hmm.
smartphones, like the whole way you live is different. And the main way that this manifests, because there was like a thread that was talking about this, is now it's like an expectation, at least in the modern world, that you have like a smartphone. Or maybe not a
Yeah.
smartphone, but you have like a phone and something that's like connected to the internet that you can be readily um, connected to and communicate, like people can communicate with you readily
Right.
through this device. So like if you go, I don't know, a whole week and like say for an example right here, if I go for a whole week and I don't talk to you, and
Mm-hmm.
not like I don't talk to you just because we don't have time to talk. It's like I don't see you online for a whole week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, what happened to what happened to you? Right? I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like thinking that in my head. But for people before this whole internet thing, that would regularly happen, right? Um, because I don't know, maybe you, I guess the main way you talk to people was like, as if you were growing
Calling.
up, was if you went with them, you met them at school, right?
Sure.
And then
Sure.
I'm thinking for
You can
like
call home
adults,
also.
like for actually, this is a better example for adults. Suppose you had like childhood friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys moved to different cities when you grow up, and
Mm-hmm.
really you don't talk then, and they're just
Right.
like completely um, out of your life now. That's actually a different example than what I was trying to go for. What I was trying to go for is
Yeah,
like,
also, by the way, this is why Facebook is like so popular among old people. Like, I say old people, I mean like our parents. um, like because it was like revolutionary, right? Like you could somehow connect with your friends from high school of like across the country. You know, that's like like unheard of, right? Um, and see what they're up to and what their vacations are like.
yeah,
So that's pretty bunkers.
that
What were you
is.
saying?
I think what I was trying to say is it wouldn't be very weird if you didn't talk to someone, like if you didn't talk to someone that you like if you were friends with this kid at school and then 2 weeks go by where he doesn't actually that would still be kind of weird if you like this guy just stopped coming to school.
Stop showing up to
Yeah,
school. Oh,
okay.
maybe over summer break. You know, they go on
Yes.
vacation.
Yeah,
You
they go
forget
on
to tell your
vacation
friend.
and you don't talk to
Yeah,
him for like, I don't know, a month or
yeah.
2 months, and it's not weird at all. And I guess it's still not weird now. Like you could actually just not talk to someone for a month or 2 months.
Drop off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I can't think of a good example exactly what I'm
You
saying.
can't not talk to anyone for 2 months though. You know, just like go completely off the grid.
Yeah, that is the hard part.
Like there's going to be somebody that you talk to. Surely that's going to be like what happened.
I mean,
Unless you're off social media to begin
but
with.
that like still happens before also. Like even
Yeah, I'm
the
saying it happened before, but it doesn't really happen now.
okay.
Oh, you're
No,
saying,
I'm saying like
oh.
even before you would still probably talk to people. Like the only way where you would never talk to people is, I don't know, you're stuck at home, the,
Mm-hmm.
like a snowstorm or something, and you can't actually leave. Um, I think the main point I was trying to get to is there's like an expectation now where you should be easily reachable because of your
Uh-huh.
phones, right? So that's like the main point I was trying to get to, which is because of these phones that we all have and the internet access, we all are like on call, like like uh in terms of kind of like a work environment, like we're expected
Right.
to respond to anything
Mm.
within like a day or like less than a day because of the prevalence of like
Yeah,
smartphones,
yeah.
and it's
That's
just
true. That's true.
completely different for before. And I have to imagine it's so weird for people who grew up in both periods, which we didn't do, but they did, and it's just like completely changed, and this is all within like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get a message quickly to somebody, um, yeah, you could call them, you know, unless they were away, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I get, you can like turn off your phone. You can tell your friends like, I want to take a tech break, you know, go on
But
vacation.
that's the thing, right? You have to announce it. You have to be like, I'm taking a tech break. I'm stepping away from social media. Like it has to be this huge big announcement. Otherwise, it's
Well, I mean, if you're like at the office and the only way to contact you is by calling your phone, you know, you should probably put out a notice, like maybe like leave a voicemail or something saying, I am not at the office right now. Call back in 2 weeks when I'm back, you know? Like, it's the same thing as putting like a, I don't know, Facebook post saying, don't contact me. I won't
yeah.
respond. Um, I mean, a huge change is more like the telegraph. I mean, I'm not saying that this isn't a huge change. This is probably like the most revolutionary thing that has ever happened to mankind since like agriculture. Okay, but like before the telegraph, it would take maybe three
Months,
days,
like
4 days
or yeah.
to get from a message from like San Francisco to like St. Louis.
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And now it takes
you have to go.
seconds.
Yeah, takes a couple seconds. um, and then you have a telephone invented around the same time. Like a couple decades later, does the same thing. You can now hear somebody's voice from across the country. That's pretty crazy.
Uh,
Um, and then they laid the undersea cable. You can go across continents. um, instant message. And then you have the railway, which allows fast travel. And so then, if you look at this from like a warfare perspective, then you can the war plans that used to be on the order of weeks and months, right, to move troops from A to B, and say we fight a battle over here, are now in like minutes and hours. They can get some troops from like Berlin to like Alsace, or something in like 5 hours. Let's say. I don't actually know how long it is. Probably more than that, but it is much faster than before. And then you can like give orders to generals and receive feedback in like minutes with telegraph. And so like the world just got faster with that. And nowadays you can only get so much faster, because your brain can only comprehend so much at a time, unless we fully automate everything, and we just make the machines do the decision making for us, like AI or something,
Yeah.
But we have lag in our brains, and again, we can only take so much information at a time. And so, like with the internet and whatever, we can only issue orders so fast and like comprehend what we're getting back from the other end so fast. So, but I mean, like it takes milliseconds now to send a message.
Right. So this brings us near the end, and what I want to, the reason why I brought that up is I want to put a wrap to the end of this episode by we talked about in episode 1 of the time capsule, right? Your clothing time capsule. So imagine this episode here is going to be the time capsule that we're going to come back to in 50 years. And
50 years.
Okay, that's a long time. 50 years is a
I
lot
don't
can
even know if I'll
happen.
be alive in 50 years.
Yeah, maybe say like 10 years. I don't think that's cool because we were just talking about the internet, right? And this is like the past 10 years. So
okay. Not really 10 years. It was like
not the internet. What I was saying was the
25
smartphone
years.
thing. Yeah.
Sure.
That's more
Okay.
of like 10 years.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. So in another 10 years, what is going I'm very curious to see what was different. So if you could describe actually, how was I going with this? I don't think I had a plan with what I was trying to do here. Maybe we don't need to describe anything.
Something that we should describe something that has to do with today.
Okay.
Like what is the most something about today? Or what is like the most useful piece of technology that you use? Maybe not the internet, right? Because that's probably still going to be around in 10 years, unless something goes horribly wrong. Then we won't even be listening to this in 10 years.
Right. Okay. So I think what we can do is describe how we use technology on a daily basis, and then see in like 10 years if what we do is like different. So you know what? I'll see if I can start because this is kind of weird. I'm thinking in terms of technology. Well, I use it for school because right now, school is very digital. Well, it's because of COVID, but even before COVID, like school materials were all online on websites.
Oh, I was going to say this earlier. I am so sorry. I'm interrupting our little time capsule. But a thought occurred to me earlier. Our parents, this is just one generation removed from us, okay? Like the people that birthed us, all right? They applied to college without the internet. They had to mail physical application packages to colleges.
Yeah.
That was crazy
That
to think about.
Yeah. Imagine that as your an actual decision letter, like an actual letter with a decision.
A physical letter in the mail.
Right. And like that's the difference, right? Back then all their materials you would actually need a textbook. like a physical textbook.
You have to carry them around.
Yeah. instead of having a one and all textbook, like we
Hmm.
we basically have that now. Just have it all on your computer.
I mean, a lot of people these days, they don't even use paper, you know.
Yeah.
They have the Apple Pencil and stuff.
Talking about yourself.
I don't want to name myself. Some people don't, but soon I predict this is a minor prediction. I don't. We shouldn't make the time capsule about predicting. I don't
Mhm.
think because people are usually wrong. Um,
But give a
but
shout.
I
Give a shout.
predict that writing is going to become much more digitized. Like the Apple tablet, like writing pencil and stuff, is going to become much more widespread. I feel
And
paper
adopted
is
in
gonna
like in schools. Like, do you think kids are gonna like grow up learning how to write on a tablet instead of
write
on paper?
on a tablet. I think it's instead of paper. In the next 10 years, maybe not, but it'll definitely like paper will become much less prevalent in day to day life.
And maybe that's a good thing. Like,
I think it's a
uh,
good thing. Yeah, reduces
less
waste.
trees, yeah, less
Mhm.
waste, more electricity usage, more
Yeah,
materials.
but electricity is cheap.
Hmm. Okay. So what I was saying,
Mhm.
I was talking about, okay, so technology for school, all the stuff is online. We use web pages to
Mhm.
access materials. Um, Entertainment is basically dominated by online. You have websites like YouTube, streaming services, um, and those are all through the internet. I feel like that's not going to change though in 10 years, but maybe
You never
the
know. I mean,
avenue.
cable. Remember, people used to watch cable, and that's kind of gone away,
Okay,
replaced by the
that's true.
Netflix and
Yeah,
the YouTube TV and the what have you.
yeah. And gaming is like you do it digitally on your computer, download stuff um, onto your computer,
Hmm.
you play games. For your phones, what do I do with a phone? Social
What
media,
was the thing?
lots of
Yeah.
things, yeah. I use the phone actually so much. I've been trying to um, practice my Chinese, and it's just
Mm.
so much easier to like just do translate on the fly, and
Hmm.
you just whip out your phone and you just like try it out, and
Yeah.
it's a lot
I
easier.
wouldn't be able to use the bus without my phone. I'd have to like ask the bus driver when to get off and stuff. I didn't have
Right.
my phone. Needed the transit app.
Yeah. Oh, one that was one thing that I wanted to talk just briefly mention, which is
Hmm.
something that is I can remember from my early childhood, which is how much phones have changed navigation with like
Mm.
Google Maps. Because I distinctly remember last episode I was talking about like the road trip that I did
Right.
when I was young, right? And
Hmm.
on those road trips, I can still remember before going on the road trip, we went to like AAA and like
Oh,
got road
really?
maps and stuff. And I can
Really?
remember that because I in AAA, like I don't know, I was like playing with some of the souvenir stuff that they had while my parents were
Mm.
like doing stuff and talking with.
Wow.
And so we had road maps, but we also had the GPS, like an actual GPS,
Physical GPS. I remember that.
like that
That we
is
had a real
different from the
GPS.
cell phone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
It
had
would
to
be
like
like tapped
connect
into
that
the
to the
windshield.
computer. And I remember like the little beeps and like the sound that was like turn right. It's just like I still remember those things. And I think
Yeah, yeah,
my parents still have it in just an old relic now. Just use your
hmm,
phones, right? That was just
yeah. I
something I
remember my
wanted to bring
dad.
up.
Hmm. My dad, he would go on Google Maps at home, and then he would print out directions.
Yeah, no
Uh,
way, but
and he would print out the directions for the road, and so we'd use that. That's how we would navigate, like which exits to take and whatnot. Um, and that's how we would navigate. And then we got a physical, like real GPS. Um, and then we had. I mean, we would still use the physical directions though, alongside, just in case the GPS like didn't work or something.
yeah, I mean, there's
Um,
enough horror stories of like GPS stuff,
yeah,
and then you're like stranded.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, That was just something I wanted to bring. That is one thing I do remember from my childhood. I don't remember Montana, Idaho, Utah, but I remember AAA, and AAA, you will never die from me. Will always be remembered. Do you have
Well,
any?
they still exist.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
do
they
the
still
roadside
exist.
assistance. Yeah.
They have a reduced role though. Their
Uh,
cultural relevance is like.
Were they ever? I don't think that was their main purpose ever. The
Yeah, I
giving
know, but
directions
it
to people.
was at least a function that I think
Hmm.
is not their
I didn't
function
know they
now.
did that actually.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think I'm remembering it right. I know we went to AAA. Maybe it was something to do with
Right,
something
right.
like
No, I'm sure that's probably something they did
yeah.
related to road trips and whatnot.
So, do you have anything
Technology in my
else
life.
to add to our time capsule?
A little time capsule. What is new and exciting? I think that's what we should talk about.
No, we could
You know?
yeah, okay. What's
Yeah.
new and exciting?
I think virtual reality is cool. Over the last like 5 years in particular, you have things like the Oculus Rift and whatnot. The
Yeah.
the new Half-Life game,
Yeah.
Alex. You can do some cool stuff in there. You can like write, sort of. I saw people doing, like really interact with the environment.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens there.
I see
Um,
in terms of gaming, like Google Stadia, like streaming gaming, that's
mhm.
something. I don't know if it's super exciting because it seems kind of a bust right now, but I don't know. In 10 years, that could be the actual like
Yeah.
stream.
If internet speeds are like extremely robust, it gets rid of the need for a hardcore computer
Hmm.
in order to play games. You just need a nice monitor and a CPU to like decode the image, and that's it. Very lightweight. That might be the future. Centralized computing. Who knows? You don't know. We shouldn't make predictions. We're talking about the cutting edge of today.
Yeah.
um, let's see. What else is new and exciting?
I don't know. We're so boring.
It's a bit of a, I don't know, maybe we're in like a break period when it comes to technology.
Or
It
maybe
comes in spurts, sort of, right?
or maybe
Like,
we're just not
maybe
very
not in
knowledgeable. I
tune.
think that's more of it. There's probably a lot of
Yeah,
things
it's probably
happening.
things happening, but they haven't reached the masses.
Right. And they're in the CIA right now. Military being developed.
Yeah.
So,
In 10 years when they get released, we'll know. What is new and exciting though?
uh, I mean, okay.
One thing, one more thing. Hmm.
Doesn't even have to be strictly technology related. Like, oh, something that is new and exciting, like SpaceX starting to make commercial rockets, and they're just
Right,
starting
right.
to do. They just made like a rocket that could land before exploding.
Or they just landed a
Yeah,
rocket.
right.
Uh,
So
that's pretty cool.
that is pretty new and exciting, and maybe that's gonna
Hmm.
yeah
Let's see if we can go to Mars. That would be very cool.
yeah.
NASA is going to return to the moon. That's the project, right? The project, the current project for 2024, right?
Yeah.
Artemis. See what that happens for that. Um,
As a really
branching
quick
out.
side tangent, like, what's the point of going to the moon? Is it just a flex? Like, what can we actually learn?
America is so good. We did it twice.
I mean, we've
um,
done it more than twice. Gone
we've
to the
actually done
moon,
it. Like, I think it's
yeah, a couple times.
is it 4 times? I don't remember.
But I'm just saying,
Maybe,
like, we're collecting moon
uh,
rocks, and I don't know how that helps. But that was just a tangent,
it's like a stepping stone, I think, um, to Mars. I
right?
don't know.
That's
If we
true.
can get out to the moon, like actually getting out of the like Earth's atmosphere is the hardest part.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can like use math and science
Yeah.
to like creatively like I play triple space program, so I know what I'm talking about. You can like take advantage of like gravity and stuff to like go farther. That's how it works. Um, there was one other thing I was gonna say, new and exciting. What was it? Um, I don't know.
360
Maybe the
hertz screens.
hmm?
They're coming out with 360 monitors,
Oh
360
yeah,
hertz refresh rate.
that's cool.
That's 6
Uh,
times the
oh,
normal
the
60.
vaccine, that's a huge deal,
Yeah.
right? In like 9 months, they were able to, like, from the declaration of a global pandemic, um, in 9 months, they were able to produce a working vaccine, a working and effective vaccine. And already like 30% of the population has gotten at least one dose. Crazy, crazy. It's a marvel of modern engineering, I think, in science. I mean, that's honestly probably the biggest thing that's happening right now. The fact that we're able to do this for humanity. I say, oh, us. We are one race, I suppose.
We're contributing
Uh,
our
yeah.
oxygen, our carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
We're helping.
So that's probably something that's going to be remembered that's going to be taught in schools for sure, right?
Yes.
The Herculean effort that it was to
Our children,
administer 7 billion vaccines
our
in the
children are
span of
going to be
a couple
like,
years.
"Wow, I learned about," like you're going to ask him one day over the dinner table. What you learned in school today, Timmy? If your kid's named Timmy. Like, talked about we talked about the COVID 2019. He's like, I lived through that. Let me tell you
Yeah,
a story, Timmy. There's
horrible
once
time.
there's once dark time. It was called uh
2020.
2020. I was trying to come up with a story. Your father, uh he was uh he was
The basement.
in
In the
the
basement for a
no
whole
no for
year.
me it was he was in the CMU weight room and he read this email from his university provost that the school is canceling in-person classes. Your dad had to fly home, and this was all in less than a week.
Over spring break.
Yeah, over three.
I went home for spring break and I didn't come back.
I didn't come back. I did go
Dramatic.
back actually
Me
a
too.
week
I
later.
also came back eventually. It took a year.
Ah, second return for
Yeah.
me.
The second coming
The
of
second coming.
Patrick.
Am I Christ?
Fatty.
Oh my god. All right. Well,
Well, thank you for listening.
it's time to
We really
close the
appreciate your
time
time.
capsule. We're locking it, throwing away the key, and well, we're not throwing it away. We're storing it, and in 10 years' time, we'll come back to this.
The public key, the RSA
The
key.
RSA
Yeah.
key. No. All right. But yeah, I think that was it. We talked about a lot today. Actually, we
Yeah,
didn't. I feel like we talked about less topics, but went more in depth.
sure. Mhm.
Thanks
Well,
everyone
let
for
us
listening.
know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button.
Mhm.
If you didn't, smash that dislike button.
If you liked it, go ahead and you have the energy, share it with other people as well. Grow our audience. Get more people
Sure.
into the TBD3B fold.
If you have any feedback, leave a comment.
Yeah,
We really appreciate it. Read every single comment if you
we
believe it or
do.
not.
We do. And if you want to keep listening, also make sure to either subscribe on YouTube or follow on Spotify, where we'll be back hopefully next week for the next episode.
Of TBD3B. Thanks for
Until,
watching.
yep, until then, see you guys. Thanks.
Bye bye.